What's up guys, this is your favorite fanfic YouTuber, the Fanfic Majesty, and welcome to another amazing video. You can follow me on Patreon for exclusive stories.
8ws. Chapter 176. Advertise here. What's going on? Buddha Sengoku and the others looked blankly. His power seems to be stronger than we saw. Garp said in surprise, his heart filled with horror. However, at this time, Zaraki Kenpachi is full of fighting spirit. Fighting is like food and water to him. He exists to fight. The current situation makes Zaraki Kenpachi extremely excited. He held Zanpakuto in his hand. Sword pressure. Boom. The reiatsu on the knife slammed towards the direction of Sengoku and others, and the boundless scorching sensation suddenly rose. The sword was pressed to cover the sky, and all the other ingredients in the air were burned. When the people at Naval headquarters saw this, their expressions were all frozen. Order. Really, really important. The deep voice of Sengoku of Buddha sounded again. For Sengoku of Buddha and others, order represents everything, and they will not let people destroy order. They are not for celestial dragons, but for their own things. While fighting, Sengoku can't live up to his marshal's coat. It is the responsibility to let him take it. Garp is because of friendship. Tautu waited because of Sengoku's daily care for them. Order. What is important? Your order has already collapsed. How many people have been bullied by the nobles, but celestial dragons have always been high above them. Is this your order? Zaraki Kenpachi stood on the opposite side of the Buddha's Sengoku and others, holding Nozarashi Zanpakuto in his hand. His black shirt was like ink, and his eyes burst out with a strong sense of war and disdain. In Zaraki Kenpachi's view, the order here is completely disordered. It is an era of privilege, the era of celestial dragons. There is nothing to say about it. Boom, boom, rumble. Zaraki Kenpachi did not speak anymore. He held Nozarashi Zanpakuto in his hand and continued to exert sword pressure. The scorching sensation continued to permeate, trapping all the people in the naval headquarters, causing the entire naval headquarters square to fall into fireworks. See this scene. Whether it is the people from naval headquarters, the pirates, or the people watching the live broadcast, their expressions are all dignified. Especially the people at naval headquarters, they never thought that just a Zaraki Kenpachi would make them so embarrassed. The pirates couldn't help but swallow a few mouthfuls. At the time, they thought that Zaraki Kenpachi was very strong, but Sengoku of Buddha was waiting for so many to come together, it was no problem. But, now, the strength that Zaraki Kenpachi has shown is really a slap in the face of the pirate and naval headquarters. Shinigami, no matter how abnormal. Read more at mtlarchive.com. The other side. Holy Land Mary Geoise. The 4-5 elders stared at the live broadcast attentively. When they saw the strength shown by Zaraki Kenpachi, they all couldn't help but swallow a few saliva and looked at each other. They all felt that at this time, it was necessary to activate the King of Heaven. Otherwise, when the people from Soul Society come, they want to continue to negotiate and control the world, which is completely impossible. After all, the strength of the two sides is really too different. You must know that the so-called negotiation is only valuable when the strength of the two parties is similar. Immediately after, the 4-5 elders ordered the celestial dragons to gather for a meeting. Celestial dragons began to gather. You said, what did 5 elders call us for? I think 5 elders wants to give us something good. I hope 5 elders will reward me with some playthings. I think 5 elders gathered us together to inquire about what we are still unsatisfied with, and to help us solve it all at once. The celestial dragons, who were waiting for the 4-5 elders to appear, began to talk privately. All the celestial dragons in the Holy Land Mary Geoise at this moment are all gathered together. None of them knew what the 4-5 elders thought. Although celestial dragons are descendants of the 20 kings who founded the world government 800 years ago, they usually call themselves descendants of the Creator, but in front of the 4-5 elders, in fact, celestial dragons are nothing more than this. For a long time, celestial dragons' living conditions are extremely superior, surpassing everyone, and they treat people of other races as slaves. However, the 4-5 elders nowadays do not want to give up the power they have now. They want to always act as the powers of this world. However, the strength shown by Shinigami such as Yamamoto Genryūsai of Soul Society is really too terrifying. With so many people in naval headquarters in front of them, it is almost like ants. Just one Yamamoto Genryūsai made the 4-5 elders terrified. It is precisely because of this that the current 4-5 elders can only choose to capture celestial dragons, and then stuff them into the Heavenly King, activate the Heavenly King, and want to use the terrifying power of the Heavenly King to fight Yamamoto of Soul Society. Genryūsai et al. As the saying goes, raising pigs for 1,000 days, for a while. The power of the king is extremely great. In the eyes of the 4-5 elders, as long as they can activate the King of Heaven, then people from Soul Society such as Yamamoto Genryūsai will definitely sit down and talk to themselves. Power is already integrated into the hearts of the 4-5 elders. Today, they will use celestial dragons to drive the King of Heaven. When the 4-5 elders appeared in front of celestial dragons, one celestial dragons did not know what would be waiting for them, and their faces were full of jealousy. The 4-5 elders didn't explain anything, they just grabbed one celestial dragons and wanted to activate the king. See this scene. The celestial dragons' faces shook one after another, and their expressions showed deep fear. At the moment, all celestial dragons trembled inexplicably, and even shouted loudly, "Five elders, what do you want to do? We are the same race." Right, five elders, what did we do wrong? One by one celestial dragons began to beg for mercy at this time. They thought it was their actions that made the five elders angry. "You are right, but we need you to dedicate your lives," Curly Five Elders said lightly. "What?" Celestial Dragons was shocked when he heard the words of five elders with curly hair. "What does he mean? Want us to give our lives?" Numerous celestial dragons were still in a state of confusion, and they were completely caught by the five elders. The five elders stuffed them all into the King of Heaven. "This is a round sphere. It will start right away. I hope that the king can help us negotiate with Shinigami of Soul Society, such as Yamamoto Genryūsai. Yeah, they are too strong. We need the power of the king to let us have the strength and qualifications to negotiate with them." Five elders stuffed celestial dragons one by one into the heavenly king, and they talked while stuffing them. "Five elders, are you crazy?" The screams of celestial dragons revolved and pierced the peaceful surroundings of Mary Geoise, Holy Land. However, it is at this time. Go through the gate and appear in the space. Yamamoto Genryūsai led Gotei 13 Shinigami of Soul Society through the gate and came to the holy place Mary Geoise. "Celestial dragons, five elders, the old man is here." Yamamoto Genryūsai's deep voice sounded. On the side of the gate, Sengoku waited and fell to the ground one by one. Can only watch the closing of the crossing gate. Things will eventually change dramatically. There is already no power to stop this frenzy of changing the world. Chapter 177. Advertise here. A deep and steady voice whirled. After piercing the noisy sacred place Mary Geoise, all celestial dragons, no matter where they are, follow the prestige. Looking at Shinigami of Gotei 13, led by Yamamoto Genryūsai, looking at this group of people, four on the look of five elders, almost at the same time, a deep panic appeared, and his mind trembled suddenly at this moment. Who are they? This is the Holy Land Mary Geoise, not how did celestial dragons get into it. They all have a terrible oppression. Quote. The celestial dragons of Mary Geoise, the Holy Land, looked unpredictable. They did not watch the live broadcast. When other people watched the live broadcast and paid attention to the sea, celestial dragons treated their lives as a game, playing with the lives and deaths of other people. They also rarely care about what happens on the sea. They have always felt that they are supreme. At the same time, the expressions of the five elders were extremely gloomy. Why did they come so fast? Why didn't the people at Naval headquarters stop them? 18 inches, damn it, Uranus hasn't started yet. Quote. The curly hair five elders' expression kept changing. He said to the other five elders in a low voice, "Hurry up. Yamamoto Genryūsai and the others have already arrived. If we have not activated the king before they find us, then we have to lose power. The guards outside will not be able to resist for long. It doesn't matter, just activate the King of Heaven." The curly hair five elders' voice fell, and the other five elders nodded heavily and said, "It's up to you." Quickly, the five elders stuffed all the captured celestial dragons into the King of Heaven, and directly activated the King of Heaven. Heavenly King is transforming. Growing up, since a sphere has grown, it has become a human form, and then it has become even bigger. Celestial dragons were screaming. But at the moment, five elders doesn't care about so much. At the same time when Uranus started, the Shinigami of Gotei 13 led by Yamamoto Genryūsai, of course, were the members of the squad who had already killed all the guards at the Holy Land Mary Geoise. Originally, what they were going to kill was imaginary. But the people here are more sinful than Shu. Murderous spirit permeated the whole Holy Land Mary Geoise. At this time, it was the first time that the five elders really felt the power of Shinigami from Gotei 13 led by Yamamoto Genryūsai. Just a short period of time. The corpses of the guards of the Holy Land Mary Geoise, like ants, were stepped on their feet by Shinigami of Gotei 13 led by Yamamoto Genryūsai. There was no breath and no one survived. At this time, Yamamoto Genryūsai and others have come to the center of the Holy Land Mary Geoise, which is where five elders lives and works. Yamamoto Genryūsai and others can feel the breath of many people in it, and the five elders are also in it. But now that the king has been activated, Yamamoto Genryūsai and others can only choose to solve the king first. The huge King of Heaven is already standing there. Read more at mtlarchive.com. The majestic momentum swept everything. The most supreme curly hair, five elders, has Uranus, who seems to have the conditions and qualifications to negotiate with Shinigami. Everyone, Seireitei, sit down and have a chat. Five elders has never been defiant. Even martial marine, in their eyes, is not very different from a dog. But now, they have two. You don't have such qualifications. Everything is ashes. Immediately, Yamamoto Genryūsai held Ryūjin Jakka in his hand, and did his part, and walked up alone. The captain's aura, indomitable, seemed to be unable to stop his footsteps by any existence. Yamamoto Genryūsai looked at the world government building in front of him, his eyes lingering with silent murderous intent, and his extremely cold face set off Ryūjin Jakka. His calm voice reverberated. Obviously there was not the slightest emotional fluctuation, but it suppressed the boundless and terrifying murderous intent, and it contained the precursors of the storm. The complexions of the five elders suddenly changed. Even though the king had been activated today, they still felt frightened. Among them, only the curly-hair 5 elders responded. You will defeat the king first. You will know if we are qualified to negotiate with you. Uranus, this huge energy body giant, appeared in front of the world government building. It directly attacked Shinigami of Soul Society such as Yamamoto Genryūsai. Energy body shells burst out continuously. Bang. Bang. Bang bang bang. The fierce attack shredded the air, detonated the sound, and immediately hit the front of Shinigami of Soul Society such as Yamamoto Genryūsai. But, the king's attack did not cause any substantial damage to Shinigami of Soul Society such as Yamamoto Genryūsai. In front of Yamamoto Genryūsai, a wall of flames appeared, and all offensives disappeared in the flames. Immediately, in the next scene, the eyes of the 4-5 elders were all tightened, and their hearts trembled suddenly. At Yamamoto Genryūsai outside the world government building and other Shinigami of Soul Society, they smiled coldly. Yamamoto Genryūsai said, "Is this the king you rely on?" The voice fell. Call out, shoo. Yamamoto Genryūsai casually slashed. Boom, boom, rumble. Under the attack of Shinigami of Soul Society such as Yamamoto Genryūsai, they sacrificed many celestial dragons and activated them. The king, who was regarded as the whole card by the 4-5 elders, broke apart and was destroyed by the flames of Ryūjin Jakka. Immediately, the terrible aftermath swept in all directions, and directly wiped out the many buildings in the Holy Land Mary Geoise. This scene is eye-catching. This is impossible. How could the King of Heaven be defeated? When the 4-5 elders saw that the king was destroyed, they all uttered in amazement. The King of Heaven collapsed. The Holy Land Mary Geoise is almost in ruins. The world government building has also become somewhat dilapidated, and a large amount of rubble continues to collapse. The terrible sense of oppression from Yamamoto Genryūsai rolled in the hearts of the 4-5 elders. In their eyes, there was a strong color of horror and dying, and a feeling of disbelief. The King of Heaven is the most powerful ancient weapon in this world. In their view, it is a divine object, and it is impossible for anyone to smash it to pieces. However, right now, it was easily destroyed by Yamamoto Genryūsai. How does this make the 4-5 elders not afraid? How not to be shocked? At this moment, the 4-5 elders trembled all over. They are the top leaders of the world government. What scenes have they not seen? However, in front of Shinigami of Soul Society such as Yamamoto Genryūsai, they found themselves like a drop in the ocean, and they would be obliterated by Shinigami of Soul Society such as Yamamoto Genryūsai anytime and anywhere. What do you want? This is the Holy Land Mary Geoise, where the world government is located. We can actually discuss anything. At this time, Curly 5 elders called out to Yamamoto Genryūsai, his voice carrying fear and trembling. Yeah, let's discuss something together. That's right, sit down and say something, don't do it. Quote. The 4-5 elders uttered one after another, doing everything they could to get Shinigami from Soul Society such as Yamamoto Genryūsai, the pioneer character star. Chapter 178. Advertise here. However, these words were introduced to the ears of Shinigami of Soul Society such as Yamamoto Genryūsai, but they were expressionless. Especially Yamamoto Genryūsai, he obeyed the order of the Spirit King. Since the Spirit King wants to solve this matter by himself, he naturally has to do his best to solve it. At this time, Yamamoto Genryūsai's face became extremely cold and stern, and the silent solemnity in his pupils continued to linger, full of endless seriousness. Sit down and talk. You celestial dragons, who are worms in this world, what qualifications do you have to negotiate with the old man and others? Talk about it. Yamamoto Genryūsai punched out directly, to the bone. Punch after punch. With a boundless intention of crushing, he slammed into all the buildings of the world government fiercely. Boom, boom, rumble, do not. The expressions of the 4-5 elders changed drastically, and their hearts trembled sharply. All buildings of the world government collapsed directly. The earth fell apart, rubble was splashing away, and all the buildings of the world government collapsed directly and unexpectedly. Under the attack of Yamamoto Genryūsai, the Holy Land Mary Geoise has almost become the scene of a fire. The endless flames burned in the Holy Land Mary Geoise, and billowing black smoke continued to rise to the sky. You can't do this, there is something we can sit down and talk about, what you want, we can actually agree. The curly-haired 5 elders has been used by Yamamoto Genryūsai and Soul. The remaining Shinigami of Society Gotei 13 were deeply shocked by the strength they showed. He knew that nowadays, he can only bow his head and negotiate with them, and there may be a ray of life. If not, he can't imagine what 5 elders is waiting for them. Before, how stupid I was to conquer Seireitei. I didn't expect that Shinigami of Soul Society would be so powerful. Miscalculated. The 4-5 elders muttered in their hearts. At this moment, they already regretted, and deep feelings of regret continued to emerge in their hearts. One bone. Yamamoto Genryūsai didn't finish listening to the words of 5 elders with curly hair, and he immediately started a bone again. Blasted out with a punch. Boom. The force of horror rolled away directly, rushing away from 5 elders with curly hair. Puff. The hair was shaken with curly hair. 5 elders even sprayed blood, and the body involuntarily flew out, smashing heavily into the ruins of the world government building. Read more at mtlarchive.com. When the other 3-5 elders saw this scene, their entire bodies trembled suddenly. Tick, tick. The cold sweat continued to overflow, dripping down to the ground along their cheeks. They didn't expect that Yamamoto Genryūsai would actually attack them, and this shot caused the curly-haired five elders to be seriously injured. Seng. The other three five elders had already begun to retreat at this time, and fear and horror continued to reach the depths of their hearts. And the curly-hair five elders at this moment. Cough. He coughed hard to get up from the ruins of the world government building, and laughed loudly. Is your Seireitei really like what you said? As long as it is a privileged class, then privileges will inevitably breed, and it must be evil. Curly-hair five elders oozes blood from the corners of his mouth and laughs constantly. This word spread into the ears of Yamamoto Genryūsai and a group of Shinigami, making their expressions condensed, and many people directly shouted angrily. How can you talk about Seireitei? In particular, Yamamoto Genryūsai, in which Seireitei is a sacred existence, does not allow everyone to insult and slander. Suddenly, Yamamoto Genryūsai unleashes a terrifying murderous intent. The Ryūjin Jakka Zanpakuto in his hand is shining with a hint of light. At this time, he, like a ray of heavenly power, slowly walks towards the five elders with curly hair, walking steadily and briskly. With supreme strength, the remaining three five elders trembled uncontrollably. Can you say that again? Yamamoto Genryūsai looked at five elders with curly hair, with a deep voice in his voice. Curly hair five elders stood up straight, wiped the bloodline at the corner of his mouth, and said with a smile, Seireitei is also an evil existence. You are looking for death. Yamamoto Genryūsai was angry, and Seireitei, for him, was very important, not allowing others to say a word. At this time, there was a touch of intense indignation on his expression, and he looked extraordinarily crippled. When the angry voice was heard, Yamamoto Genryūsai was filled with terrible power, and the murderous intent in his eyes and the Holy Land Mary Geoise were constantly swaying in the wind against the thick flames. Everything in Vientiane is ashes, Ryūjin Jakka. Yamamoto Genryūsai sang, burn the city. The next moment, Yamamoto Genryūsai directly performed this trick shikai. The blade of Ryūjin Jakka Zanpakuto released a flame wall in an instant, sweeping in the direction of five elders with curly hair. Curly hair five elders saw this scene, their eyes tightened instantly, and their complexion suddenly changed at this moment. The flame wall created by the burning wall directly wrapped the curly hair of five elders. This scene let the other three five elders look dull. The strength of Yamamoto Genryūsai, they were frightened by the live broadcast of the Battle of the Top through the phone worm. Now, the curly hair of five elders is directly wrapped in the yanbi, which makes their faces full of fear. Gulong. Tick. The other three five elders swallowed a few salivas in succession. At the same time, he was constantly wiping the top of his forehead, the cold sweat that overflowed and couldn't stop sliding down. Quote. What should we do now? Quote. The curls are dead. How would I know? At this moment, the three five elders whispered to each other in a low voice. The Soul Society Shinigami, such as Yamamoto Genryūsai, are so powerful that the five elders did not resist it at all. Even the King of Heaven hesitated in front of the Soul Society Shinigami such as Yamamoto Genryūsai. It easily destroyed a lot. The curly hair five elders is now directly killed by Yamamoto Genryūsai. This was so shocking that the remaining three five elders were extremely shocked. Whatever you want, we can agree. One of the five elders shouted to Yamamoto Genryūsai and other Soul Society Shinigami. As long as you don't kill us. Knowing that it was impossible, the three five elders only wished they could survive. At this time, Yamamoto Genryūsai slowly walked towards the remaining three five elders, his face indifferent, and his eyes flashed with rolling coercion. The old man just wants you to understand who the world's most powerful person is. Chapter 179. Advertise here. Yamamoto Genryūsai, his voice is accompanied by endless reiatsu. After a word fell, the space was shaking endlessly. This happened in the Holy Land Mary Geoise. The army of the world government was gathering. However, as the terrifying power of Yamamoto Genryūsai brought endless coercion, the army was immediately shocked above the sea, and the warships did not dare to step forward. Some of the leaders of the world government army were destroyed by reiatsu, who was the first to be destroyed. The whole person was blasted into two halves from the middle. The huge and terrifying reiatsu suppressed many generals, even soldiers, now both legs are fierce. Trembling, and finally unable to hold it, he collapsed to the ground. Yamamoto Genryūsai, as the captain of Gotei 13, has reiatsu, rampant in the sky, oppressing everyone, and it seems that they can't bring up a single bit of power. This shocking scene is even a few five elders who will still be alive. I don't know what to say, they couldn't believe it, they wanted to do their best to give it a last try. They wanted to prove that they were not ants, and were still qualified to negotiate with Gotei 13, but under such power, five elders suddenly found that they wanted to stand up, but it was also very difficult. Under the endless horror of reiatsu, his face turned into dullness. Reiatsu pressed them down, heavier than a mountain pressing them. The 13th team of the Guarding Court is an organization that maintains the order of the Soul Society. At the same time, if the Spirit King has orders, they will absolutely obey. At this moment, Yamamoto Genryūsai found that there were still unwillingness and reluctance in the blonde five elders. Yamamoto Genryūsai had many years of experience, and he didn't know how old he had lived. He knew that such a person would even surrender. It will make the wind and rain. Thinking of this, Yamamoto Genryūsai's eyes become endlessly cold. Boom. Yamamoto Genryūsai didn't say a word, his fist was surrounded by infinite power, and he hit it directly. Blonde Five Elders, his physical skills are very strong, but he faced this punch of Yamamoto Genryūsai. Do not. The blonde Five Elders screamed. Under the fluctuation of such a fist of horror, he turned into countless powder, and the power of horror was still surging in the space, constantly shocking the earth and the space. The two remaining Five Elders glanced at each other, they both saw each other's eyes, and saw their astonishment. They didn't expect them, Five Elders, to have such a day. To be honest, the strength of each is above admiral. Their comprehensive strength can shock the entire sea. But today, two Five Elders died at once, and they were killed alive by the guy in front of them. It seems that for Yamamoto Genryūsai, this is just a simple thing, not too difficult. Such a thing, the previous Five Elders are basically it is impossible to believe. It seems we can only fight. The Five Elders with the longest beard now looked at the roundest Five Elders with the mark on his head. Yes, I can only use that hand now. At this moment, the two Five Elders actually hugged each other, and then a beam of light was generated, wrapping the two people together. The next moment the two merged into one, and a brand new figure appeared. This is the so-called fusion fruit. It has similarities with Bullet's hybrid fruit. However, fusion is not only an object that can be referred to, but also other people. And the other Five Elders has the ability to be elemental fruits, and the existence that is fused by this method is a person with the ability to gather two big fruits. Immediately the elements in the space are all used for it, thunder and lightning, violent storms and so on, appearing at the same time in a short time, making the space strange and terrifying. Why are you unreasonable today and refuse to sit down and talk about it? The fusion continues. Dead body. There are fragments of the king. And also, suddenly, a huge figure appeared, and the Holy Land Mary Geoise could not accommodate him. Read more at mtlarchive.com. This figure. At this moment, he was suspended, disregarding all creatures. His voice is vast and majestic, almost resounded in the surrounding waters. In the past, Five Elders never fit together, because after fusion, there are several consciousnesses in the body, but there is only one body. After fusion, they can no longer be separated. But now, at this point, the Five Elders have to say the same. This kind of power can smash a series of islands with one punch. Because of some relationship, they can't leave this sea area. Their bodies are so huge. If they can't leave, wouldn't they be boring? But now, I can't manage so much. Fit Five Elders, feeling the majestic and terrifying power in the body, in the blood-red eyes, there is no fear anymore. Shinigami or something, he also has the confidence to fight. Is there really such a qualification? Yamamoto Genryūsai looked at the giant in front of him faintly. Behind him, Shinigami did not act. They all believed that their captain could not lose to such a guy. Now, boom boom boom. Reiatsu was intensively like thunder, it was roaring in Yamamoto Genryūsai's body continuously, and a wave of terrifying force rolled away. Call. Yamamoto Genryūsai lifted his sleeve at the moment, exposing his arms, clenched his fists, and hadn't smashed it out yet. But this coercion has already caused the entire sky to sink suddenly. The sacred place Mary Geoise, even more directly appeared the picture of collapse. Looking at this scene, the Five Elders giant fits together. The corners of his smiling mouth were directly frozen. His pupils suddenly shrank. It was unbelievable that Yamamoto Genryūsai was still climbing Reiatsu in his aura. Does this guy have a strong bottom line? How many punches can you withstand the old man? Although Yamamoto Genryūsai has played a bone. But that was an immediate punch. It's not as cohesive as it is now. Now, as Yamamoto Genryūsai began to gather strength, the power of Reiatsu gathered on the fist. Boom boom boom. Heaven and earth seemed to be in a drowsy state. Right now, Naval Headquarters, Sengoku of the Wounded Buddha, etc., are driving a warship towards Mary Geoise, the Holy Land, the pirates and the Revolutionary Army are also there. The great change in the world has begun, and they all come to see what things will turn out no matter what. Kaido, Auntie, etc., are also close behind. This scene cannot be missed. Nowadays, there will be history, and even a blank history, things that will not happen. Right now, the power of Yamamoto Genryūsai is still gathering. Under this terrifying aura, the islands are also beginning to fall apart, and the things seen in the eyes are turned into powder. Even in the sky, also because of the power of Yamamoto Genryūsai, the thunder roared and the black clouds rolled. Why Shinigami, you just refuse to negotiate, why you refuse to sit down and discuss a plan that can exist and benefit both parties? Chapter 180. Advertise here. How come there is such a power? How do you practice the Shinigami of the Soul Society? Each of the Five Elders is over a few hundred years old, but I never thought of it. Yamamoto Motoinajisai Shigekuni unexpectedly there is still such a terrible energy hidden, his Reiatsu alone made the world begin to tremble, everything visible to the naked eye is trembling, very obvious shaking, if you know that this is almost impossible, it is elemental thunder, lightning, violent wind, etc., unexpectedly, there is also a tremor. How is this possible? Yamamoto Genryūsai hadn't made a move yet. The giant Five Elders was shocked to find that his huge body was also shaking, and then in his mind, he could not help but feel that he was a little overwhelmed. However, this seemed to be just the beginning. With Yamamoto Genryūsai, Reiatsu with continuous enhancement, a scene of collapse appeared in the sky, and there were also meteorites in the sky, one by one was shaken down, causing a large meteor shower to appear around the sky and the earth. The Buddha Sengoku and others who are now heading towards the holy place Mary Geoise are also looking at the scene in the sky. This is really terrifying, incredible. In the end, Yamamoto Genryūsai's aura finally climbed to a certain extreme, and then he stopped, and then he took a deep breath, not wanting the whole world to suddenly form a violent wind, and roll back, forming a huge vortex. Yamamoto Genryūsai took another breath, and suddenly the wind swept around like a tornado. At this moment, Yamamoto Genryūsai has completely exposed Kamui, and the old man's eyes seem to be shining with fearful light at this moment. I don't have anything to discuss with you. Yamamoto Genryūsai's eyes were full of majesty, and the terrifying aura around him was constantly rolling. Called the giant five elders in front of him, his face was frozen, his pupils suddenly shrank, and his huge body was trembling slightly. Destruction is your only destination. At this moment, Yamamoto Genryūsai, above that extremely indifferent face, was extremely cold, and slowly spoke, and then his fist was condensed with infinite power, as if the god and demon were added to him, Reiatsu wrapped, and finally punched past. After that, it seems that this punch will bury everything into hell. It seems that there is really nothing to say, so let's fight. The giant five elders knows that at this moment, there is only one battle. You know, the reason why five elders is today does not rely on negotiation or anything. Killing. The giant five elders roared and roared towards Yamamoto Genryūsai, and then the huge giant five elders' body also moved in relief towards Yamamoto Genryūsai, directly blasting that huge fist. Yamamoto Genryūsai stood in the air, motionless, on top of his right fist. Reiatsu burst, and the cold and merciless punch was also blown out. The sound of rumbling and rumbling resounded through the night, and thousands of miles in the sky trembled, and the force of terror swept away, directly toward the endless black clouds, and destroyed the lightning in the sky, with a devastating aftermath. Go everywhere in the sea. In this aftermath, the warships such as Sengoku, the Buddha, who came to the holy place Mary Geoise, were swaying. Demon fruit power was launched one by one, hoping to stabilize the warship. In the holy land Mary Geoise, looking at the fist of the giant five elders, it actually started to collapse. When the giant five elders saw this place momentarily sluggish, the cobweb-like cracks began to expand rapidly, and finally the blood of the giant five elders spurted out. The whole body was fractured, and then the huge arm was shattered, and the soul was hit hard. Do not. The scream of the giant five elders resounded, and the Buddha Sengoku, who had not yet approached the holy land Maria, could also hear it clearly, and the sound made their souls tremble. I just feel that the sky is falling. The giant five elders can detect that his body is being destroyed. Read more at mtlarchive.com. The huge body, a ray of light, split the body and rushed out. For a time, the earth collapsed, the sky collapsed, the slightest strong wind, and the waves swept dozens of meters high. Do not. The giant five elders roared again unwillingly. Five elders, standing high for so many years, really can't give up the right to enjoy. But so what? Master Yim, looking in the direction of Pangu City, he uttered a cry for help. But nothing appeared. Boom. The huge body finally collapsed completely and turned into nothingness in the wind. Five elders, completely perished. At this time, warships arrived, and pirate ships arrived. They stopped in front of Mary Geoise, the shattered holy place, and did not dare to come up, just staring blankly at the situation on the holy place Mary Geoise. Just now, they could see clearly that the terrifying giant had completely collapsed. The Buddha Sengoku couldn't help but muttered, "World government, is it completely over? If there is no world government, what will the world order be like next? It's too early to say the end now." A magnificent voice, like the voice of a god, came from the direction of Pangu City. This sound caused the heaven and earth to vibrate slightly, causing the Buddha Sengoku, Aokiji and other demon fruit powers to feel that there was something going to jump out of the body. This feeling, it seemed that life and death, were all controlled by this person, called on their foreheads, the cold sweat couldn't stop flowing down for a while, even the beast Kaido. It seemed that the power of devil fruit in the body was not his own, but the existence that made the sound just now. This voice is too weird. The moment it appeared, people only felt that there would be a devastating wrath of the gods coming down. Now, above the sky, I don't know when, a figure appeared. She has whirlpool-like eyes, standing with hands and feet on the void, the breath emanating from her makes him like the master of the world. Under such power, on the warships, on the pirate ship, many demon fruit powers felt that the power in their body was bowing to this person, making them inevitably unbearable, feeling the great pressure, and kneeling one by one. Down. Sengoku of Buddha, Kaido of beasts, etc., even more dare not look at this person. After five elders, there really is such an existence. Buddha Sengoku took a deep breath, but never thought that he would meet this one. To be honest, five elders is actually just an agent of power in this world. But this one is completely different. She is the real supreme being. Under such power, whether it was admiral or four emperors, it seemed nothing. Chuan. Chapter 181. Advertise here. Under such terrifying power, Yamamoto Genryūsai and other Shinigami felt that it was nothing. Even under such pressure, even some deputy captains raised their heads and looked directly at the figure. In the eyes of everyone in pirate world, that figure was a real king-like existence. Except for Shinigami, not all people on the ocean dare to look directly, such as Garp, such as Hawkeye, etc. They have a heart that is not afraid of everything. At this moment, the figure finally said, "It's because I don't care about things for too long. I didn't expect that the world has become a mess that I am unfamiliar with." Then her mysterious eyes, which seemed to contain some power, looked at the Buddha Sengoku on the warship. "Are you the so-called Marine Marshal? You did not pinch off the first signs, which led to the present day case." Her voice is still supreme, and she sees herself as the master of everything. It seems that the wrong person has always been someone else, not herself. The Buddha Sengoku only felt that the devil fruit power in his body was suppressed. It made himself very uncomfortable. He couldn't say anything for a while, but Garp around him realized something and snorted. "Shinigami started, it's already very powerful. It seems a bit wrong for you to embarrass Sengoku so much." Although Garp is only a lieutenant general of naval headquarters, its status in marine is nothing if it is just based on military rank. According to military rank, it can only be regarded as general in the world government, let alone in Im's eyes. Garp actually dared to speak to this guy, the marine pirate, and the people in the revolutionary army. All of them couldn't help but swallow, and his heart was full of disbelief. The leader of the revolution, Dorag, smiled. It seems that the old man from the family has really not changed at all. What kind of virtue was before, but now it is still a kind of lawlessness. In Dorag's opinion, he and Garp are actually very similar. They just chose different paths. That's why it seems that there is such a gap. On the contrary, if Garp chose to be a pirate and become a revolutionary army, then he is now a different scene. "If you tell me something unreasonable, do you have to pay everyone?" Suddenly Im said lightly. The next moment the Buddha Sengoku and Crane standing next to Garp on the warship, he only felt that the devil fruit power in his body seemed to have become explosive. The continuous rumbling fluctuations in the body made them pale and squirted a few mouthfuls of blood. Seeing this scene of Dorag, Kaido, etc., even if he is stupid, he already understands what's going on. The guy in the air is worthy of being the highest being of the world government. She actually has the power to order devil fruit. In this way, doesn't it mean which devil fruit power she wants to die and which demon fruit power she has to die? Thought of this. Even if it is Kaido, the existence of the ant, his eyes widened, fear and trepidation appeared in his eyes. "I'm not talking about Shinigami, but about the pirates in the sea in the beginning." Im said lightly. Sengoku of the Buddha, Lieutenant General Crane waited for this to feel better. Im glanced at Marine, Pirate, Revolutionary Army. Read more at mtlarchive.com. She nodded in satisfaction and said, "You are all very good." Hearing Yimu suddenly change to such a gentle tone to speak, the Buddha Sengoku and others were startled again. Seeing Yim's appearance, Dorag and other revolutionary forces also secretly nodded, giving a stick and another candy. In the eyes of Dorag and other revolutionary forces, it's no wonder that this guy will be the real behind the world government. Exist. At this moment, Im turned his gaze away from them and looked at Shinigami and others. She also seemed to feel the power of Yamamoto Genryūsai and others, completely different from this world. She said, "It seems that Soul Society is indeed another world. Gotei 13, guarding Seireitei, is it the team with the so-called Spirit King? It seems that your status in Soul Society is equivalent to that of Marine in this world. In this case, you don't seem to be qualified to talk to me." The words came out. The audience was shocked. The Buddha Sengoku and others did not expect Im to say such things at this moment. "How dare you? You know how strong Shinigami's power is, now everyone knows it. Why does Im dare to talk to Shinigami like this? Do you know the consequences?" Yamamoto Genryūsai squinted his eyes slightly, and he was old-fashioned, but his aura was not extinguished, and he said in a deep voice. Yim smiled indifferently, and said, "I have my confidence when I talk to you like this. The reason why this world exists has a lot to do with me. It can be said that I have opened up the current situation with my own hands. I led my 20 children and fought all over the world. This is the situation. Now, although the situation is a little worse, Celestial Dragons has a little bit more self-esteem, but it hasn't broken down to the bones. This kind of world, there is no need to destroy it. On the contrary, you Gotei 13, as you said, the order of this world has nothing to do with you. What you are going to care about is the souls, emptiness and so on, right? If that's the case, get out of here now." Yamamoto Genryūsai stood there quietly. The Shinigami captains behind him glanced at each other, each with an expression. For example, Hitsugaya Tōshiro's disdain. Zaraki Kenpachi hacked each other with sullen expressions. On the other hand, Unohana Retsu looked sympathetic and looked at Im's figure with pity. "Do you think I don't have the power to let you go?" The next moment, before the Shinigami talk, Yim directly shot out indifferently, but watched her stretch out a palm. Suddenly, light flew out of demon fruit power such as Sengoku, Aokiji, Kaido, etc., and then gathered in a rock. Mu's hand becomes an energy sphere. The tree of devil fruit was originally in my hands, so why, I let the fruit fall outside. Have you thought about the reasons for this? Imna's indifferent, grand echoing between heaven and earth, the East China Sea heard it, the West Sea heard it, the South China Sea heard it, the North Sea heard it, the people of New World heard it, the fishmen of the Fishmen Island under the deep sea heard it, Kongdao people on the planet have also heard it, and some of the existence on the moon have also heard it. Because these are seeds, I need you to cultivate seeds, and I am the one who will harvest the last, but I did not expect that the harvest day will come so soon. I'm spoke. She was dragging the energy body in her hand, and she seemed to have endless power, and even the air flow between heaven and earth seemed to be forbidden. Now the Buddha Sengoku and others looked at each other, not wanting devil fruit to have such a story. And now, facing the strength of I'm, what should Shinigami do? Sengoku of Buddha looked at Yamamoto Genryūsai and other Shinigami one by one. Chapter 182. Advertise here. At this moment, I'm has the confidence to speak to Soul Society's Gotei 13, not only because she has the ability to seize all devil fruit in the world, but also because she has another whole card. At this moment, Yim's power has been revealed, and she can deploy the power of all the devil fruit that has developed in this world. The power of those devil fruits has already been conceived extremely powerful in the body of Sengoku of Buddha. If I'm doesn't mobilize the power of other people's devil fruit, it's just that her own power can't beat the combination of two admiral. However, when she draws out the power of the fully developed devil fruit, Yim will become extremely powerful. However, facing the power of Yim, Yamamoto Genryūsai still shook his head slightly. The old man said without anger and prestige, "Your power is actually that way." Hearing these words, Yim's eyes widened in an instant. She was wondering if she had heard something wrong, otherwise, how could she have heard such ridiculous words? Yunohana Retsu, the captain of the 4th Division, Shinigami who was still gentle at this moment, thought of something and even said, the man named 18 Ace executed at Naval Headquarters was actually divided into 2 halves by his power. Dead, so where is the other half? Hearing these words, I'm smiled slightly and said, of course the other half is in my hands. Hearing these words, Garp in Marine was immediately overjoyed. In this case, does it mean that Ace is still saved? But at this moment, I'm stretched out his other palm. With a smile at the corner of his mouth, he said, you see it, it's in the palm of my hand. In Yim's eyes, there is a figure in her palm. There is no doubt that it is Fire Fist Ace, but in the eyes of Garp Buddha Sengoku and others, Yim's palm is empty, nothing at all. Nothing. After Yunohana Retsu discovered this, she said, it seems that Aizen has succeeded. At this moment, you have not separated from Kyoka Suigetsu. The so-called ace is not in your hands. At this moment, Yim doesn't believe it at all. How is this possible? That Aizen Sosuke really came to Pangu City. Also took Ace from her hand. But why is she not conscious at all? Yim really didn't want to admit this, but the face of Buddha Sengoku and others changed. They clearly told Yim that this was true, and Ace was no longer in her palm. Now Yim's eyes suddenly sink. Unexpectedly, she would be played by the name Aizen Sosuke between applause. After reacting, Yim said lightly, yes, now I have lost one game, but I only lost one game. I won't. At this moment, Yim hadn't finished speaking, but he saw that suddenly, golden lights appeared in the sky. That golden light seemed so warm and powerful. This ray of light seems to be refracted from another world, and finally shines on the entire pirate world. Under such light, even Yim felt that she had an ant-like feeling, which made her face change drastically, and couldn't help exclaiming, how is this kind of thing possible? It's not just I'm, that's all, other people have a feeling that their souls are kneeling and surrendering. Everyone stared at the golden light on the sky dumbfounded. In the deepest part, vaguely, there seemed to be a figure, but no matter how you looked at it, it couldn't be clear. Spirit King. Yamamoto Genryūsai lowered his head first. The other Shinigami captains are kneeling on one knee. Read more at mtlarchive.com. The Shinigami players behind him knelt down. There is no doubt about Shinigami's toughness, but even the unfathomable Gotei 13, in front of that figure, is actually so small. This is the reverence from the heart, from the depths of the soul. This is different from the look of the Buddha Sengoku and others when he sees 5 elders on weekdays, and even now when he sees Yim. Buddha Sengoku and others are actually afraid of 5 elders. It can be seen from the expressions of Shinigami and their behaviors. Spirit King. He seems to be well deserved, he should be the highest authority in many worlds. The Buddha Sengoku and others stared at the depths of the sky, but, just like looking at the sun, it is impossible to look directly at it. That figure can't be seen clearly with sunglasses. The Buddha Sengoku, Garp, Dorag, Kaido, etc. did not see the appearance of the Spirit King clearly. However, in the soul, it seems that this figure is already familiar and surrendered. It seems that there is a lazy smile, and the momentum is indifferent, sitting on the throne, with world-class coercion. It's not easy. The Buddha Sengoku and others have come back to their senses. But the turbulent waves in my heart lasted for a long time. In that stare gaze, Yim already knew exactly what kind of existence came, and his pupils couldn't help but shrank, and his face changed greatly. You are, the Spirit King. Buddha Sengoku and others also glanced at each other. At this moment, whether it is Marine, Pirate, or Revolutionary Army, they are all paying attention. The live phone bug is also live here. The figure above the sky can't be seen clearly. It seems I don't deserve to see him at all. But I have to say, today, something really happened. Today, it is destined to change the times. Yeah, it's finally here at the turn of the times. People on many islands all over the world are discussing enthusiastically. In fact, with the death of Whitebeard, a new era has also begun. But now people all over the world have come to understand that the real new era is much bigger than they want. What is the new era? People on the sea, even the Golden Lion, the bullet that has left impel down now, the Red Earl, etc. At the moment, their eyes are concentrated, and they dare not slack in the slightest, they just stare at the big screen carefully. The original world. The highest authority thought it was 5 elders. It turned out to be the existence after 5 elders, Yim. I have to say that there are very few people who know about her existence, right? And now, the king of Soul Society Gotei 13, is here too. So, is it possible that the king sees the king in this scene? Just when people in the world think like this, I don't think Yim deserves to call him Wang Jian Wang. Chapter 183. Advertise here. Some people still see it. If what Shinigami said before is correct, then the Spirit King is the king of many worlds, which is not comparable to I'm. What qualifications do you have to talk to each other and call him Wang Jian Wang? I am. Is it worthy to be compared with this Spirit King? Really? Where is the sky? The highest place is full of light, and there is no clear appearance of the Spirit King. He has not spoken yet. Yamamoto Genryūsai already said, why do you have to give this kind of role to the old man, Your Majesty the Spirit King? In his mind, Spirit King, Seireitei, supreme. For this, he can even execute anyone, even his own disciple, can also be destroyed. Too much underestimated me. Yim wanted to fight the Spirit King very much, but he didn't expect this to happen. But I haven't played Yamamoto Genryūsai personally, and Yim also wants to know how it turned out. Then give it a try. Yim's voice rang faintly. In fact, he has not completely applied his true power. Now with the sound of his voice, the bests of the Buddha Sengoku and others were instantly drenched with cold sweat, and their scalp was drenched. Has an urge to flee here quickly. They knew the power of Yamamoto Genryūsai. The Zanpakuto Ryūjin Jakka in his hand is extremely terrifying, it can slash, destroy everything, and damage the pond fish. Although the Buddha Sengoku and others may not have seen the appearance of I'm in battle, but based on the fact that I'm can mobilize the power of Devil Fruit, they are afraid that this sea area will be affected if they want to fight. That kind of level. The collision itself carries destruction. Yamamoto Genryūsai, after hearing Im's words, his eyes narrowed slightly, and he spoke lightly, as long as it's done all at once. Now the mountain was in the sky. In the scene of hockey in his painting, his pupils shrank sharply, and he felt that the so-called captain of Gotei 13 looked down on himself too much. Do you mean that you can destroy me in one fell swoop? Yim's brows flicked slightly at this moment, her eyes were sharp like eagles, and she said thoroughly, then let me see what kind of power Gotei 13 captain has. I'm also heard 5 elders report, saying what Seireitei is mysterious and so on. But Yim also had self-confidence in his heart, and he didn't think he would be much weaker than other existences. At this moment, the Ryūjin Jakka in Yamamoto Genryūsai's hands was already shikai, and the brilliant flames roared out, and the space was hot and rude. The flames contained terrifying power that made all living creatures feel fear. At this moment, the Buddha Sengoku and other powerful people looked at the flames around them in horror. They felt that the flames could burn their souls, and could turn Fangyuan into a sea of flames in an instant, even the sea. Burning for it, all creatures in it are annihilated. Now the flames have started to burn, endlessly, causing the space to continue to collapse. The power of the captain is really terrifying, and this is just shikai. Looking at Ryūjin Jakka in the hands of Yamamoto Genryūsai Shigekuni, the Shinigami behind him also shrank their pupils. They could feel the hot feeling in the space, and at the same time, the Shinigami felt that Reiatsu on their body followed the surroundings. The flame, and it began to boil, seemed to have signs of burning. This is just shikai, so how strong should the captain Bankai be? Hitsugaya Tōshirō and other Shinigami's expressions changed greatly when he thought of this. It's amazing, but, at this moment, Yim's eyes condensed, and he immediately drank. Suddenly, from all around the sea, dense clusters of light flew up and gathered in the palm of her hand. These are the power of Devil Fruit. Immediately, the energy is vast and intense. Like the sun in another round, it caused the surrounding space to vibrate. Read more at mtlarchive.com. Looking at the opponent's hand, Yamamoto Genryūsai still looked calm. He could feel it, the other party's power was mixed with the power of many creatures. But so what? Back then, he commanded the powers of all walks of life and formed a new type of team. He went to war with the Quincy division headed by his friend Habak and wiped them out. Yamamoto defeated his friend Habak by himself. It's not just this battle. Yamamoto Genryūsai walked along, not knowing how many enemies he encountered. Yim, among the opponents he encountered, was nothing at all. Right now, the energy bomb in Yim's hand is extremely majestic, dragging the energy bomb high in this mountain. Chen Tian at the highest point of the sky couldn't help but think of the huge vitality bomb, but compared with the vitality bomb of the Dragon Ball, this energy bomb was much less powerful. Right now, the energy bomb aimed at Yamamoto Genryūsai and threw it directly. For an instant, layers of space are shattered. And Yamamoto Genryūsai also directly cut out Ryūjin Jakka. Hot hell. Suddenly, a pillar of fire followed by a pillar of fire spread. When the flame collided with the energy bomb was burned out at a speed visible to the naked eye. Impossible. Exclaimed. How could one's own power be so small? This is absolutely impossible. The Buddha Sengoku and others also think that Yim's power is actually vulnerable to a blow. How is this possible? Ding, congratulations on getting the Sengoku 10,000 shock point of the Buddha. Ding, congratulations on getting Garp 10,000 shock points. Ding, Congratulations on getting bullet 10,000. Ding, congratulations on getting 100,000 shock points from Yim. Open black lens bracket, close black lens bracket. The flame swallowed the energy bomb, and then moved towards Yim with his teeth and claws. I am trying to hide. But it was too late. The highest existence in the world, at this moment, under the flame, began to burn. Finally, it turned into nothing. As Li Jiao, this moment. Ding, congratulations on getting the door of new world. Ding, congratulations on getting Ulquiorra of Espada. The Buddha Sengoku and others are already sluggish and don't know what to say. Im's whole card can mobilize the power of all devil fruit on the sea. Isn't it the opponent of Yamamoto Genryūsai's full force and Shikai's slash? How can this kind of thing be celebrated? At this moment, Yamamoto Genryūsai withdrew Zanpakuto with a serious expression. Now you should also know the present world, and it should be in the control of His Majesty the Spirit King. At this moment, Marine, Pirates, Revolutionary Army, etc. are already shocked there, so what can they say? Papa, the applause sounded. Not someone else. It's Aizen. At this moment, he has walked out, followed by Baragan. Yamamoto Genryūsai frowned slightly. Chapter 184. Advertise here. Aizen. Yamamoto Genryūsai's eyes narrowed slightly, revealing a hint of cold light. You guy. Hitsugaya Tōshirō noticed Hinamori Momo's sadness and wanted to rush forward, but was stopped by Kyoraku Shunsui, and his lazy gaze became a little serious. Calm down and see the situation. The Buddha of Sengoku and others. Everyone watching the live broadcast. At the moment, they were all dumbfounded. I'm is dead. This shows that the rule of the world government has completely disappeared since today. Then, what will the new world look like? Sengoku of Buddha, etc., but it is still not clear. Now, Aizen Sosuke appeared again, with Baragan behind him. Will there be another battle with Shinigami of Gotei 13? Aizen, with a smile at the corner of his mouth, but at this moment, even if he is smiling, he is not gentle, and some is a kind of aura. Aizen looked at the highest point of the sky, where, the figure above the throne, wrapped in white dazzling light, no one could see the whole picture. Ling King, at this moment, I am qualified to represent the power of Hueco Mundo. With Aizen's words, Yamamoto Genryūsai and other Shinigami all looked towards the highest in the sky, the figure of the Spirit King. Hueco Mundo, Soul Society, are all under the control of the Spirit King. But these two worlds are hostile to each other. Chen Tian's voice is vast and boundless, but mixed with indifferent colors. The words of the king fell. Aizen nodded slightly. Of course, for Soul Society, the Hueco Mundo dispute, the Soul King never cares. Right now, Aizen's mouth was smiling. The members of the 5th Division are reluctant to bear Aizen, but they also know that the relationship is now considered hostile, and their expressions are complicated. Soul Society, Hueco Mundo, both belong to the Spirit King. At this moment, the Buddha Sengoku and others have already understood. Of course, they also belong to the Spirit King in this world. In this case, the Spirit King, Sengoku of Buddha glanced at Garp, Dorag, Kaido, and waited for a while. After all, he mustered up the courage and asked what he wanted to ask. This world, Soul Society, Hueco Mundo, belongs to you, so can you tolerate everything and treat everyone equally? The words of Sengoku of Buddha, Kaido, Anti, Dorag, etc., all look towards the highest point of the sky one by one, dazzling. But they still watch. They want to know the reply of the Spirit King. The words of Sengoku of the Buddha actually have something in the words, do we also belong to your subordinates, then can we also be empowered by you? Not just them. Pirate World, everyone watching the live broadcast, Golden Lion, Red Earl, Bullet, and many, many others. At this moment, both eyes were staring at the live broadcast, wanting to know the reply of the Supreme Spirit King. Natural. The two simple words come from Chen Tian. Suddenly, on the Grand Line, many people on the islands cheered. Golden Lion and other strong players are also clenching their fists at this moment. To be honest, if the Spirit King rejects them, what future do they have? But, just when Sengoku and Dorag of the Buddha breathed a sigh of relief, Chen Tian uttered two more words, read more at mtlarchive.com. They were once again in a state of trepidation. It depends on your performance. After this sentence falls, the existence of Sengoku, Dorag and other forces of Buddha all looked at each other. They all know. It's time for me to speak up. Take a deep breath. The Buddha Sengoku was the first to kneel down on one knee. What it means to be an enemy of the Spirit King is clear at this moment. There are so many Marines behind him, but they can't just be destroyed meaninglessly. Whether it's for yourself, or to follow his subordinates, the Buddha Sengoku knew he should do this. Dorag is the same. Then, the pirates bowed down one by one. Your Majesty the Spirit King. Your Majesty the Spirit King. Your Majesty the Spirit King. Their voices, one after another, uninterrupted, resounded through the sea. All those who watched the live broadcast also paid their respects one by one. Golden Lion and others also lowered their usual arrogant heads. Your Majesty the Spirit King. Your Majesty the Spirit King. Your Majesty the Spirit King. Quote. For a time, the whole world was making a sensation. Chen Tian nodded. To be honest, his path has not yet come to this day. The so-called Spirit King is the supreme ruler of the present world, Soul Society, Hueco Mundo, Divide, and Hell. Now, surrender in the world. Soul Society is complete. But, Hueco Mundo, hasn't appeared yet. As for Uhabak and others, I don't even know where it is. I need to see your performance. Chen Tian said. Whether it's Yamamoto Genryūsai of Soul Society, Aizen of Hueco Mundo, etc., or Sengoku of the present Buddha, it's all nodding. Everyone hopes that the Spirit King will value himself more. Yamamoto Genryūsai looked calm. Aizen smiled slightly, but the smile was not easy. I want to outperform Soul Society in terms of performance. For now, it is very rare. The Buddha's Sengoku, Marine, Revolutionary Army, etc., all for a while, I don't know what to do. I need to see you so that people in other worlds will be shocked, frightened, and shocked for you. In the high altitude, Chen Tian's voice continued to fall. Other worlds, Yamamoto Genryūsai, Aizen, Sengoku of Buddha, etc. are all startled. Right now, Chen Tian pointed a finger. Suddenly, a door appeared. This is a ninja world. The so-called Third Ninja World War is now erupting. Chen Tian said these words lightly. Accompanied by Reiatsu, the sound shook everyone's hearts. Correct. At this moment, World War III is going on in the ninja world. This is what the system told Chen Tian. Konoha's elite Jonin, Namikaze Minato, has become famous. But Cloud Shinobi is still strong. The tyrannical Cloud Shinobi, to this day, still believes that he can win. Sengoku of the Buddha took a deep breath and stared at the huge door. Then, Your Majesty the Spirit King, what do you want us to do? Aizen asked. Then, I will let you take a look. As Chen Tian's voice fell, a figure appeared. He is one of the Hueco Mundo, Espada, Ulquiorra. Following Chen Tian's words, Aizen nodded, and Baragan behind him is thinking, Espada. What about me? Thinking of my own power, I feel that I am just under Aizen. How can I be the number one in Espada? Watch it, Ulquiorra, you go to that world and let them know the existence of Hueco Mundo and Espada. Yes, Your Majesty Spirit King. Ulquiorra nodded and walked directly into the door of New World. Now, Yamamoto Genryūsai, Aizen, and everyone in Pirate World are all looking at the scenery in this doorway. I want to know what kind of world it is there. Chapter 185. Advertise here. The battlefield of Rock Shinobi and Cloud Shinobi. At this point, the battle between Rock Shinobi and Cloud Shinobi has ended. In the battlefield, there are a group of people, each of them wears Cloud Shinobi's unique ninja costumes and forehead protector, symbolizing their identity as the Cloud Shinobi village ninja. On the battlefield, an old man with dark skin, long light yellow hair, and long beard, with a tattoo on his right shoulder and a wound on his right chest symbolizes his identity. He is third Raikage. This Cloud Shinobi village may be the strongest Raikage in history, standing in front of the tens of thousands of people. At this moment, his eyes were cold. After he fought many enemies for 3 days and 3 nights, this Raikage, who was already old, was out of breath. But he still said, I'm able to fight. Quote. At this time, the ninjas of the Cloud Shinobi army nodded, they felt sad. War, in every Shinobu village, is hurt. But sometimes, for resources or something, we have to fight. Seeing that third Raikage, who had been fighting a lot and still standing out of breath, the eyes of Jonin's copper horns beside him flashed with deep sorrow. If it hadn't been for Raikage to withstand so many ninja attacks for us, our left-wing force might have been destroyed. As the elite Jonin of Cloud Shinobi village, he naturally knows how much sacrifice third Raikage has made. If the third Raikage's sacrifice of life, I am afraid, tens of thousands of ninjas have already invaded the Thunder Country Cloud Shinobi village, and the Thunder Country Cloud Shinobi village has been messed up. Nowadays, all the ninjas of Thunder Country Cloud Shinobi village have basically returned. In front of the mighty Cloud Shinobi village ninjas, the original tens of thousands of ninjas have gone elsewhere. Fortunately, third Raikage had already surrendered his position of Raikage to his son early on. If not, I am afraid that Cloud Shinobi village will fall into chaos. Third generation, you still have vitality. After you go back, you will definitely be able to survive. Tong Zhao said sadly to third Raikage. Yes, Cloud Shinobi, who was next to Copper Horn, heard Copper Horn's order. His face was full of sadness and walked to third Raikage's body. He looked at them and refused to worry about them. He still refused to close his eyes, panting but still. As the third Raikage persisted, the pupils of many ninjas turned red at this time, and tears couldn't stop streaming down. The pirate world, Marine, Pirates, Revolutionary Army, Shinigami, etc., and Aizen of Hueco Mundo, are all watching this scene. Of course, at present, they are not yet familiar with the combat power situation in the ninja world. Looking at the corpses on the battlefield, Dorag of the Revolutionary Army couldn't help but sighed. It seems that there is no real peace in that world. Ninja world. That's when Cloud Shinobi wants to help third Raikage. Seireitei, accompanied by a low and steady chanting sound, an emerald green flash with great destructive power dashed through the air. Boom. The huge explosion sound accompanied by the coercive breath, that emerald green flash bombarded the earth, adding another trace to the already devastated battlefield. Read more at mtlarchive.com. What? Ah! The few cloud shinobi who stepped forward were extinguished by the emerald green flash after they made a series of brutal screams. And facing this sudden change, all the cloud shinobi present were stunned, and a touch of surprise appeared on their expressions. Third Raikage took a breath and shouted, "Who is it?" Immediately, the next moment, a heart-pounding coercion completely shrouded the entire battlefield. It is invisible and intangible, but it is a certain kind of coercion that really exists, as if the Taishan mountain is pressing on the top of the cloud shinobi. It was the sudden onset of this coercion that made the cloud shinobi only feel that their bodies have become extremely heavy, and even breathing has begun to be a little difficult. Even Third Raikage, at this moment, he felt that his body was extremely stiff due to 2 battles. This is, what? Chakra, somewhat different. Third Raikage was the first to wake up, and for the first time, this problem emerged in his mind. He didn't even know the ninjutsu the other party was performing, whether it was the emerald green flashes or the sudden strange pressure, they made him unfamiliar. Mindful of this, Third Raikage turned his eyes solemnly, looking in a certain direction. I saw that there was a person standing there at this time. He has short black broken hair, his skin is pale and panic, his eyes are green, and his face is dark green with Arankar patterns resembling tears. The man was wearing a high-necked, long-sleeved jacket with a white face and a black background and trimmed with black edges. She was wearing a white kimono skirt, tied with a wide black waist seal, zanpakuto inserted on the waist seal, and black socks and white shoes on her feet. Find flowers. He is slowly walking towards the cloud shinobi. Clatter, clatter, da da da. Although his steps were not fast at this time, every time he took a step, a footstep sounded like he was stepping on the hearts of the cloud shinobi. When he came to a position less than 100 meters away from the cloud shinobi, many of the cloud shinobi had fallen directly to the ground. Hueco Mundo, Espada's 4th blade, Ulquiorra. And until now, everyone heard his voice. Ulquiorra. Heard the name. All cloud shinobi including Third Raikage were slightly startled. Although this name was extremely unfamiliar to them in the past, it is now deeply imprinted in their souls. Seeing Ulquiorra's calm temperament and the indifferent attitude revealed in their bones, cloud shinobi's hearts trembled fiercely. Hueco Mundo. Is it the name of an organization? Third generation guessed in his mind. Just as the third generation project is brainstorming. Chen Tian is observing all this in the pirate world. Nodded. At this time, seeing that Third Raikage had died, Chen Tian naturally ordered Ulquiorra to snatch the body of Third Raikage. There are 5 great ninja villages in the ninja world. Chen Tian didn't speak much, just pointed a finger, and suddenly some information appeared in the minds of Yamamoto Genryūsai, Aizen, and Sengoku of Buddha. They have understood the general view of the ninja world. Quote. What are you going to do? Third Raikage asked furiously. My task is to let you know about the existence of Hueco Mundo and Espada. Ulquiorra's cold voice of Chen Jing sounded, as if he was narrating something beyond doubt. And with that, Ulquiorra's voice fell. Cloud shinobi, including Third Raikage, showed a strong anger on their expressions, and their eyes flashed with murderous intent. What a crazy guy. At this time, Third Raikage was furious and shouted. He doesn't care what the so-called Hueco Mundo is. He only knows that Cloud Shinobi Village, the country of thunder, does not allow anyone to be humiliated, and does not allow anyone to have a covetous heart. Chew on. Chapter 186. Advertise here. Although the strength of their Cloud Shinobi Village wounded many people and killed many people in the previous ninja wars, Cloud Shinobi Village has always been a powerful military power and has never been afraid of anyone. Fight to fight. Want to be the first, but to die. This is the purpose of Cloud Shinobi Village Ninja. Besides, Ulquiorra is just a person in front of me. Third Raikage believed that although he was out of breath, he would surely be able to defeat him by going with the Cloud Shinobi behind him. Ready to fight. Mindful of this, Third Raikage didn't say anything about the scene. He was also a rude man. He didn't like to talk about the scene. He was different from the guys in Konoha village. Instead, he gave orders to the ninjas in Cloud Shinobi village beside him in a deep voice. The other side. Ranging. The several Cloud Shinobi who stood at the front of the team were all attentively vigilant about Ulquiorra's actions. But, the next moment, they discovered that Ulquiorra's figure disappeared from their sight in an instant. This, disappeared. Ever since, they startled instinctively. Laugh, laugh, chi 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 chi, immediately after. The dull voice resounded. Then, they were shocked to find that the shinobi in their hands had been neatly divided into 2 at this time. This is, and before the doubts in their hearts had time to rise, they felt their vision, and in the next moment the world turned abruptly. Hey, they didn't understand what happened until they saw the headless corpse lying on the ground. It was not only Shinobu who was cut in 2, but also his own head. Everyone, be careful, this. Before the exclamation of the few Cloud Shinobi even had time to make a sound, Ulquiorra's figure had already entered Cloud Shinobi's team, and his hand knife was extremely sharp. So fast, as this body flicker technique. The eyes of the Cloud Shinobi who saw this scene shrank suddenly, including Third Raikage thinking so. Moreover, at this time, Third Raikage had hardly thought about it, so he defaulted to the body flicker technique after all. From the outside, there was almost no difference between the 2 sides. However, It is precisely because of this that, at this moment, Third Raikage, although his heart seemed extremely shocked, there was no panic. Let me meet you. Looking at Ulquiorra, who kept flashing in the crowd of Cloud Shinobi, there was a cold flash in Third Raikage's eyes. Read more at mtlarchive.com. No, this guy, is he crazy? As a first-class existence of Cloud Shinobi Village, the speed of Third Raikage is also very powerful. Of course, he also knows that the faster it is, the more chakra will be consumed. And the reverberations displayed by Ulquiorra at this moment are undoubtedly equivalent to the high-end body flicker technique in the eyes of Third Raikage. Dare to use this speed again and again during the battle, but I want to see how long you can hold on. Third Raikage looked at the flashing Ulquiorra, his mouth curled up rudely. Grim smile. But, quickly, the sneer at the corner of Third Raikage's mouth was completely frozen. Because the speed of Ulquiorra in the crowd, as time goes by, its flashing speed does not slow down at all, or show a tendency to become exhausted. Ulquiorra's figure is like a breeze, flashing back and forth between Cloud Shinobi, but the siege of Cloud Shinobi has no way to capture Ulquiorra's position. Moreover, every flash of Ulquiorra will take away a lot of Cloud Shinobi's life. This terrible picture, this scene of fear, let Third Raikage have an extremely strange association. Obviously there are so many Cloud Shinobi besieging Ulquiorra, but now according to the scene of the battle circle, it looks like a wolf entering the flock, hunting unarmed lambs. What's more, what makes Third Raikage's heart cold is Ulquiorra's almost artistic swordsmanship. Hand knife, extremely fast. Or vertical split, or cross cut. Or pick it up. Every swing is like art. Every time the knife is shot, the speed is almost perfect. One after another scarlet blood splashed out with every swing of the knife, and at least one Cloud Shinobi was killed on the spot, and blood stains spilled on the ground. Scarlet blood, frightening knife light, the cruel cry. The dayless massacre and death. One picture after another was constantly unfolding in the eyes of Third Raikage. This is a melodrama of death. This is the dance music of killing. This guy, looking at Ulquiorra, who is constantly harvesting, lives in Cloud Shinobi, like a demon from hell. There is a chill in the heart of Third Generation's purpose. Tick, tick, until now, Third Raikage finally vaguely felt that something was wrong. Is he a shadow-level monster? How many monsters can have the strength of Ulquiorra in the ninja realm? And most of these people in the ninja world bear the name of Shadow. According to Third Raikage, the other party should be a shadow, right? Who is this guy? Why haven't I heard of his name before? At this moment, Third Raikage's brows were already frowning, and bursts of horror rose involuntarily in his heart. At the same time, Third Raikage is also suspecting the intelligence network of Thunder Country, or Cloud Shinobi Village. That, Hueco Mundo, what kind of organization is it? Third Raikage recalled Ulquiorra's self-introduction just now, and began to have a strong fear of Hueco Mundo. Mindful of this, Third Raikage also roared without thinking, "Get back. Get out of contact with him. Don't fight him close." At this moment, even a fool can clearly see that if he chooses to continue the battle with Ulquiorra, then it is actually no different from seeking a dead end. Cloud Shinobi simply couldn't capture Ulquiorra's movements and positions. However, Ulquiorra can easily flash in the crowd, and take action anytime and anywhere to carry out dimensionality-reducing massacres. It was just a short dozen or so breathing fights, and the number of Cloud Shinobi who died in Ulquiorra's hands was hundreds. It is precisely because of this that Third Raikage naturally chooses to let the Cloud Shinobi retreat, not to make indifferent sacrifices. Then, Third Raikage moved. The speed flew, and he came directly in front of Ulquiorra. Lightning-style guillotine drop. With that, Third Raikage's voice fell. Third Raikage instantly concentrated the lightning style on the feet and kicked Ulquiorra from top to bottom. And Ulquiorra, who continued to use Rangjuen, had a dodge in his figure at this time, evading the attack of Third Raikage. It seems that you have value, and were buried in the hands of Hueco Mundo. Perceiving the approximate strength of Third Raikage, Ulquiorra spoke silently. Chapter 187. Advertise here. Lightning style go. Third Raikage stretched out his hand and patted the ground, and a powerful chakra burst out of him. When Ulquiorra saw this, his feet touched the ground, and his figure swept back. As expected of Lord Third Generation, I forced him back. Hurry up, do it. Help Lord Third Generation. Kill him. The Cloud Shinobi who were present saw this scene. These Cloud Shinobi were all characters who had been on the battlefield for a long time. At this time, the reaction after seeing the situation was naturally quite swift. Lightning style Furious Thunder Tiger. Lightning style Natural Thunder. Thunder Sword Art Ramen. Ninjutsu Shuriken Shadow Clone. Quote. With so many ninjas using ninjutsu at the same time, it is quite a shocking picture. Countless lightning styles, countless shurikens, dozens of thunder and lightning, all attacked toward Ulquiorra's location. Boom, boom, boom. In an instant, in the place where Ulquiorra originally stood, there were deafening noises, and huge explosions and dense smoke continued to rise. It's done. See this scene. Many Cloud Shinobi's expressions showed a touch of ecstasy after another. However, they didn't expect it, just when they were using ninjutsu. Steel skin. Ulquiorra performed this trick. In an instant, Ulquiorra's body was wrapped in armor-like skin that was impenetrable by swords. It had high Reiatsu hardness, and ordinary attacks couldn't help it. And as the smoke cleared, Ulquiorra's figure stood there, shocking all the Cloud Shinobi present. The pupils were widened, and the mouths were wide open, all in an unbelievable appearance. So many ninjutsu attacked together, but they couldn't kill him. This is really beyond all of them's expectations, making their cognition reversed. As this, an illusion. Naturally, all Cloud Shinobi's minds had the same idea almost at the same time. However, that is, while the Cloud Shinobi were all stunned, Ulquiorra shot. Virtual bullet. After Ulquiorra fixed his Reiatsu, he attacked directly in the direction of the Cloud Shinobi. The speed was so fast that the Cloud Shinobi were unbelievable. Puff, puff, puff puff. Before the Cloud Shinobi had reacted, even dozens of Cloud Shinobi were attacked by virtual bullets and killed on the spot. A big bang was born here. Read more at mtlarchive.com. It's more terrifying than Tailed Beast Bomb. Rewind. After seeing this scene, Third Raikage's heart suddenly slammed and roared. Although the warning issued by Third Raikage was timely, but at this moment, Ulquiorra, he was still tapping his fingers, and one after another devastating force erupted, rumbling and resounding. This scene is not Third Raikage and Cloud Shinobi. What they could imagine before. Laugh, laugh, chi 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 chi, but a few blinks. The explosion washed the Cloud Shinobi like a tide, causing Cloud Shinobi to suffer unprecedented losses. Yes, the attack power of the virtual bullet is not as good as Seireitei, but its speed is 20 times that of Seireitei. It is a group attack skill. Baragan, who was watching all this, also sighed involuntarily. But the arrogance in his tone remained unchanged. Ulquiorra is very strong, but in his opinion, it is not as good as himself. Ulquiorra's strength is still good. Aizen said with satisfaction. Hawako Mundo is now weaker than Soul Society. Soul Society has so many captain-level characters. What does Hawako Mundo currently have? But the words of the Spirit King inspired Aizen. Yup, Hawako Mundo should also have a spada. The people on the sea looked at the scene in the Gate of New World, one by one dull. How do I feel that the guy called Why Third Raikage has an admiral level? I think so too, but why was it suppressed? That Ulquiorra, is it terrible? At sea, everyone was shocked. The same is true for Sengoku of Buddha. I have to say that he also admits that this Third Raikage is already out of breath, but the level of performance now also has admiral level. But Ulquiorra still suppressed the opponent. The power of this, Hawako Mundo, is not simple. It doesn't seem to be under the system of Soul Society. The sky is the highest. Chen Tian is also looking at this scene. Although Ulquiorra at this time has not yet activated the ability of one-stage blade and two-stage blade, but only the strength in front of it, it is still a front-end existence in the ninja world. Moreover, this is just the beginning. Later, when Ulquiorra's abilities of the first and second blades are unlocked, Ulquiorra's strength will get a qualitative leap. If Ulquiorra performs well, Chen Tian doesn't mind granting him the power of the three-stage return. After 3 tiers, Baragan, I'm afraid he is not Ulquiorra's opponent either. Current Ulquiorra, even in the Shinigami world, is definitely a strong one. If his status is fully unlocked, his strength will be greatly improved. Just as Chen Tian sighed like this, a prompt came from the system. The test is almost done. Yamamoto Genryūsai, Sengoku of Buddha, Aizen should also know how to behave in the future, it should be over. Looking at Cloud Shinobi, who has lost so much, Chen Tian secretly said in his heart. He has no blood or deep hatred with Cloud Shinobi village, the country of thunder, and has no friendship with other ninja villages. Therefore, Chen Tian naturally did not have the thought of killing all the power of Cloud Shinobi village. Ever since, under Chen Tian's signal, Ulquiorra directly came to the side of Third Raikage. Then, your life, I will take it away. And after hearing Ulquiorra's indifferent voice, the crowd of Cloud Shinobi were irritated and split-eyed. What a joke. Lightning style, chakra mode. Hell Spike 4 Benkansho. Third Raikage showed real means. The whole body was wrapped in thunder and lightning, like an invincible existence, but 4 fingers, with terrible penetrating power, bombarded them. Want to interrupt Ulquiorra's movements. However, Ulquiorra's speed was beyond the expectations of Third Raikage. The next moment, Ulquiorra cut off the head of the third-generation thunderstorm. And Third Raikage, 4 fingers were inserted into Ulquiorra's body at the same time. Cloud Shinobi were dumbfounded. Third Raikage is dead. But our Third Raikage is still amazing, and it also took away the other side's figure. Cloud Shinobi village Jonin Copperhorn said so. But the next moment. High-speed regeneration. The 4 big holes in Ulquiorra's body healed instantly. Then, Ulquiorra used to understand the space. Torn the space and left. Asshole. This is space ninjutsu. This guy actually knows space ninjutsu. Looking at the devastated battlefield and the heavy loss Cloud Shinobi, thinking about the head of Third Raikage who was taken away by Ulquiorra, the copper horn hit the ground with several punches. Third Raikage just died. At this time, while he was angry, there were naturally ripples in his heart, which was a sense of powerlessness after being frustrated. Hawako Mundo, what exactly does this organization exist? Chapter 188. Advertise here. Chapter 188 The Turning Point of the Third Ninja World War. This is on the battlefield, where the base camp of Cloud Shinobi village is located. The Third Raikage is completely different from today's Konoha village 3rd generation. Konoha village 3rd generation Seireitei Hiruzen stayed in Konoha and did not personally go to the battlefield. He claimed to be a stable rear and gave orders. Some people even say that in the strategizing, the decisive victory is thousands of miles away. In Third Raikage's view, this is simply a fear of death. Of course, he was also ready to die. It has already been ordered to go down. Fourth Raikage is his own son. Of course, it can now be called the Fourth Raikage. And Fourth Raikage is on the battlefield, and has some intersection with Namikaze Minato. Now looking at the bronze horns kneeling on the ground and the other Cloud Shinobi, Fourth Raikage was a little surprised after hearing the news they reported. They actually told themselves that their father's head had been taken away. What kind of joke is this? Although he succeeded Raikage directly. But in the heart of Fourth Raikage, his father is extremely powerful. Whether it is Sarutobi Hiruzen or Onoki, he is not his father's opponent. Now in the ninja world, who has the ability to take him away dad's head? Hueco Mundo, Ulquiorra, what the hell is this? Listening to Copper Horn's report, Fourth Raikage's brows frowned. He naturally believed in Copper Horn and others. Copper Horn was himself. Jonin next to his father, otherwise he wouldn't let Tong Jiao and others go to fight alongside his father. Although his father had already fought a battle before and was out of breath, he couldn't be killed easily. This news really made Fourth Raikage unacceptable. A mysterious organization named Hueco Mundo suddenly appeared, and Ulquiorra, the fourth blade in Espada. What kind of space ninjutsu, and the 4 big holes pierced by his father's body, actually recovered. The appearance of the other party is even more different from that of ordinary humans. This information is like a series of bombings, leaving Fourth Raikage in confusion in his head. Are you sure you haven't planted illusions? Now Fourth Raikage is so angry that he asked this question. Master Fourth Generation, of course we will not plant illusions. Even if it is Sharingan's illusions, it is impossible to be fooled so easily with my abilities. You should know this. Tong Jiao also knew what he said. How outrageous the words are. When will there be such a terrifying existence as Hueco Mundo in the ninja world? But he still gritted his teeth and said, Master Fourth Generation, everyone here can attest that that guy is not an ordinary ninja at all, or his body has undergone some transformation. This is not inferior at all. A monster for the purpose of Third Generation. I think even if Master Third Raikage has not experienced a battle before, and is not out of breath, it is difficult for him to defeat the opponent 100% in the heyday. Hearing this, the Fourth Generation was silent, and the killer bee beside him did not show any grimace, and stood there solemnly. Fourth Raikage gritted his teeth and said, since the other party is known as the fourth member of Espada in Hueco Mundo, what does this explain? It means that there are 3 other guys in front of him that are better than him. Do you think this is really the case? The other ninjas in the camp did not dare to answer such things one by one. Too impossible. Ulquiorra has the strength no less than Third Raikage, and there are 3 roles above Ulquiorra. How could such an organization exist in the ninja world? Doesn't such an organization say that Cloud Shinobi Village can't be an opponent at all, it can only obediently wait for it to be eliminated? So, I think the other party may be fooling us. Fourth Raikage gritted his teeth. In his opinion, this possibility is very big. Read more at mtlarchive.com. There are only 2 explanations now. The first, there really is an organization like Hueco Mundo in the ninja world. But this is basically impossible. With this kind of organization, why didn't it come out during the First Ninja World and the Second Ninja World War? Moreover, whoever is the strong in the organization, it is impossible for a ninjutsu strong to emerge for no reason. This is not realistic. The second possibility is that the other party is completely deceiving them, and this is the most possible in the eyes of Fourth Raikage. Master Raikage, is this really the case? The ninjas in the camp frowned. Trust me, there is no Hueco Mundo at all, no Espada at all, only Ulquiorra. The Fourth Raikage is now the final word. Master Fourth Generation, the other party killed Master Third Generation, don't we take revenge? Since the other party is only one person, there is nothing to be afraid of. We have so many ninjas from Cloud Shinobi Village here, so are you afraid of him alone? Yes, we are fearless. Quote. Most of the Cloud Shinobi's personalities are straightforward. If you say anything, you will get revenge. This is a matter of course. Of course revenge. Fourth Raikage drank. He has a hot temper. My father was killed. How could he not get back this account? Immediately, he shouted, release this Ulquiorra news and tell Ninja that whoever dares to protect him is my greatest enemy of Cloud Shinobi Village, and Cloud Shinobi Village is my enemy at all costs. At the same time, whoever has Ulquiorra news, come to report, I will give him an acknowledgement from Cloud Shinobi Village. Quote. Cloud Shinobi nodded one after another. This is also the first to win. Now, the disappearance of Third Cage forced the Sunagaku group of dragons to have no leader. The Thunder Country, which admired military expansion, took advantage of the fire and robbed the country of the wind, and declared war on the country of soil and the country of fire. Right now, Fourth Raikage, just to see what the attitudes of other Shinobu villages are. He also believes, Ulquiorra cannot appear only once. When he reappears, he can definitely avenge his father and take down Ulquiorra's head. Fourth Raikage, with the cooperation of Killer Bee, he has absolute Lee's confidence in the combat power generated by their cooperation. Ding, congratulations on getting the Third Raikage 10,000 shock points. Ding, congratulations on getting the Fourth Raikage 100,000 fright points. Ding, congratulations on getting Killer Bee 100,000 horror points. Above Pirate World, Chen Tian nodded. Ulquiorra has also emerged from the gate of New World. He walked into the camp of Hueco Mundo. Aizen looked at him and nodded in satisfaction. Baragan stood there with a face of indifference, but was fourth, nothing remarkable. Ulquiorra, you did a good job, and I give you a step forward. Following Chen Tian's words, Ulquiorra's eyes were indifferent, and he couldn't help but widen. Because he already had a second tier. Other people don't know. Aizen would not know. The Spirit King definitely knows. And the Spirit King now means. Chapter 189. Advertise here. Chapter 189. Team Zero in the absence of Vizard. Baragan snorted. He went home once. In his opinion, the Spirit King now rewards Ulquiorra with the ability to return to the blade for the second time. Even Aizen thinks so at the moment. The second time. In this way, Ulquiorra's strength is very close to Baragan. Aizen thinks so, and Yamamoto Genryūsai and other Shinigami think so. Only Chen Tian and Ulquiorra know that this is a three-stage return, and Ulquiorra has the qualifications to compete for the first place in Espada. But Ulquiorra's temperament does not fight for fame or fortune. Now, Ulquiorra stood there quietly, without speaking. Above the sky, Chen Tian sat on the throne. Ding, congratulations on getting Roger's strange soul. Chen Tian nodded. He knew that he should deal with the strange soul. Now he has a different soul of Doflamingo, a different soul of Roger, and a different soul of Whitebeard. These strange souls does not exist in Raikage, nor in Hueco Mundo. For such strange souls, Chen Tian naturally has other methods of execution, and what he has to do now is to return to the Spirit King Palace. Who has made plans next, can enter the gate of New World. If you perform well, I will give you what you want 500. With the fall of Chen Tian's words, the world, whether it is the pirate marine or the revolutionary army, suddenly cheered, and the sea was full of noisy. Of course there are still many sane people, such as the Buddha's Sengoku. He just saw the combat power in the ninja world. From the Buddha's Sengoku's point of view, the strength of third Raikage, even he is not 100% sure. Take the other's life. Good performance, of course, has benefits. What if the performance is not good? Wouldn't it make the Spirit King feel incompetent? Let's go back to Naval Headquarters to discuss this matter. Sengoku of Buddha knew that he was going to hold a major Naval Headquarters meeting again, but this time he spoke a lot easier than before. Today's Buddha Sengoku is the real marshal of Naval Headquarters, and he never despises his 5 elders anymore. Celestial dragons are gone, and Sengoku of Buddha feels that he can take advantage of this period of time to tidy up the Naval Headquarters and kick out some pests directly. Naval Headquarters should also have a new look. Sengoku of Buddha is full of energy at this moment. Looking at the energetic appearance of the Buddha Sengoku at this moment, Garp and Lieutenant General Crane looked at each other. They saw the return of the former Buddha Sengoku. The Buddha Sengoku who joined Marine back then is like the Buddha Sengoku at this time. He felt that he had the power to reverse everything and rectify all the filth, but as the position of the Buddha Sengoku became higher and higher, and he gradually became more and more clear about the world, the Buddha Sengoku was gradually restrained, but now he is finally back. Kizaru among the 3 admiral, following the Buddha Sengoku, he glanced at the direction of the revolutionary army. Dorag nodded gently to Kizaru. Kizaru shrugged. At present, the pirate world will basically not be hostile to each other, but no one of the major forces wants to be surpassed by each other. Just as the Soul Society does not want to lose to Hueco Mundo, the Naval Headquarters in reality also wants to be in front of the spirits. Great performance, but don't want to lose to the revolutionary army and the pirates. In this case, Kizaru felt that he still had to stay in Naval Headquarters, but compared to before, it would not be that dangerous. Okay. Let's go back to. Dorag waved his hand. Now the world government has collapsed, and many kingdoms are waiting for their revolutionary army to receive it. Of course, Dorag knows what to do. When propaganda, he must emphasize the spirit of the king. Greatness. Those kingdoms most should believe in is not the revolutionary army, but the Spirit King. It is also time for the old systems of this world to be destroyed one by one. The beast Kaido at this moment, the ants pirate, and of course the phoenix Marco, etc. They watched the Marine Revolutionary Army leave, and they glanced at each other. Today's world situation has become this way, and they all understand one piece. They have fallen behind, and their pursuit goals should also change. Read more at mtlarchive.com. Beast Kaido excitedly said, a new power. Then he looked at the Phoenix, Marco and others. Should we form the Pirate League? The Phoenix Marco waited a glance at them, but he didn't care. And he thinks Kaido is okay. That's all. Go. Let's discuss it. Discuss it, Kaido. Auntie and Kaido are gone together. They knew each other. Kaido also owes her aunt. Right now, the 4 Emperor's pirate groups left together. Let's go back to Daddy's hometown now. The Phoenix Marco said sadly. Diamond Joe's waited a little and nodded. Yamamoto Genryūsai has nothing to say to Aizen, the Spirit King has left, so he naturally turned his head and left. Captain Shinigami and the Shinigami followed behind them and returned to Soul Society in mighty force. The performance of Hueco Mundo will not lose to Soul Society. Watching Shinigami leave, Aizen's expression is free and easy. There is not a single bit of reluctance. Ichimaru Jin and Tusen Kanami are already in Hueco Mundo, organizing the Palace of the Night. Group after group of virtual people began to surrender. Aizen turned around. Baragan, Ulquiorra followed closely. Today, the situation of the world. Turn upside down. One Piece. Who wants to be? Do not. There are still some people, they are still moving towards the dream of One Piece. For example, Luffy, Shanks. I will definitely become the man of One Piece. With the promise of a straw hat, Luffy didn't want to give up the dream of One Piece. Zoro frowned slightly. But you can't go back on what you have promised. Sanji, Usopp, etc. are also there. But Nami, Robin and other women are gone. The road of the Straw Hat Pirates did not stop. Of course. There are still many people who are pirates. There is only one new world door. The power of Third Raikage can be seen clearly during the live broadcast. Many pirates in the Great Sea think that they do not have the strength to perform well in front of the Spirit King. Third Raikage, even Ainalu feels that he has no confidence that he can defeat the opponent. Not to mention other pirates. Road, have it already. But not everyone is eligible. At this moment, the Spirit Palace. Chen Tian, who returned here, stretched out his palm. In the palm of the hand, there are several air masses, but in fact, this is the so-called strange soul. To be honest, now Soul Society is actually flawed. The so-called Zero Division did not play. In addition, I remember that among the forces, besides Gotei 13, Espada, there are other forces, such as Vizard, and another example. Ding, side mission found. The sound of the system rang at this moment. Read more at mtlarchive.com. CHI Chapter 190. Advertise here. Chapter 190 The 10th Division of the Award. What is it? Following Chen Tian's inquiry. Ding, task profile. Returning to returning Roger. Open black lens bracket task reward. Team 0 close black lens bracket. Team 0. Chen Tian's eyes lit up. The existence of the Zero Division is actually very important to Soul Society. With the Zero team, if Gotei 13 undergoes their training, it will also go to the next level. Of course, except for the captain. Yamamoto Genryūsai, his power, unless the world is promoted, otherwise, his power has actually reached the extreme. Bankai came out. The pirate world and the ninja world are absolutely unbearable. Now, Chen Tian stretched out his palm. Roger. Roger defines it as Shinigami, or is it imaginary? Chen Tian has a different idea at this moment. In fact, there is not only one system in Shinigami. There are other systems in it. For example, Wan Shanshu. Manifestation is the ability of love. It must draw out the power of the objects that oneself loves as much as possible, and can draw out the material soul and control or change its form. Thought of this, Chen Tian felt that Roger should be given such power. Go ahead. Immediately, Chen Tian threw Roger's soul into the world of the sea. As for the world of ninjas, at this moment, the Third Ninja World War is still fighting. The name of Ulquiorra has spread throughout several big shinobi villages. Whether it is Konoha or others, they are shocked by this guy who has never heard of it. He actually took the head of Third Raikage, which made Konoha, Rock Shinobi, etc., are all taken aback. Chen Tian glanced at the ninja world at this moment, the war is still going on. He withdrew his gaze. Now, he is still focusing on the development of pirate world. Roger, let me see what you would want to do in the face of the ocean today. Read more at mtlarchive.com. At this moment, in the world of ninjas, the timeline is the third battle of the ninja world. The timeline of pirate world is after the top war. In the original book, after the war, Luffy and others began to practice. Of course, in the original book, they were in different places, but now they are different. Luffy, with Zoro, Sanji, etc., finally found the King Rayleigh. At this moment, Pluto Rayleigh really became an ordinary old man, and he didn't want to worry about any more things. This is a small island next to the Chambord Islands. Not the beauty of the shattered Chambord Islands, but it's not bad. Now Luffy came to the door. Uncle Rayleigh, please teach me armament hockey and observation hockey. Luffy knows that he wants to become One Piece. It's not that simple, even if there is no Beast Kaido to compete with him, but his opponents are still not a few. He must become stronger. Otherwise, the 3 words One Piece will follow. He has nothing to do in his life. Sanji and Zoro also stood behind Luffy, looking at Pluto Rayleigh solemnly. There are still people like you in this era, resolutely walking toward the captain's road. Seeing Luffy's determined appearance, Pluto Rayleigh nodded with some relief. If Luffy wants him Rayleigh to board his pirate ship, Rayleigh is unwilling to say anything, even he can see that the current world situation has become completely different from before. Soul Society still the appearance of Hueco Mundo shocked everyone, even if it was a power like Pluto Rayleigh, it might not seem to be a big deal in front of them, not to mention that Pluto Rayleigh had personally experienced the power of Zaraki Kenpachi. Okay, I know what to do. At this moment, Pluto Rayleigh looked at the pleading in Luffy's eyes, he nodded, and directly agreed. Not only for Luffy's sincerity, but also for the straw hat that Luffy is holding. For the straw hat, he must do the same. After getting the reply from Pluto Rayleigh, Luffy and Usopp clenched their fists and were quite happy. Luffy thought of Ace's death again. He felt that if he had the strength, that wouldn't happen. Since the deputy captain agreed to them, why not agree to us too? At this moment, outside the small broken house, there were voices again, and one figure after another appeared. Looking at them, the eyes of Pluto Rayleigh couldn't help but trance. Those who arrived were also the celebrities on the Roger pirate ship. With Roger's death, they were originally scattered in every corner of the world, but now the era of the great pirates seems to have gone downhill, and it may be over in a few years. The old pirates of the Roger pirate group, they have appeared again. What they have to do now is to make a big noise, let others know that the pirates are still very powerful, and hope that the era created by Roger can continue. Find flowers. It's really been a long time. Pluto Rayleigh didn't expect to see the ship Dr. Kuroka's, but Rayleigh could also guess that Kuroka's was also invited by old friends to come here. Of Marine Dr. Kuroka's, he has medical skills, but his strength is not good. Naturally, he has no ability to refuse anything, but Pluto Rayleigh is different. The old man has a bone, and now the ups and downs on the sea can be said to have nothing to do with the old man anymore. Pluto Rayleigh refused firmly. 00. Sikar, Sunbell and other old pirates looked at each other. Without Rayleigh, relying on them alone, how could we revitalize the era of pirates that was lonely because of Shinigami's appearance? Kuroka's also sighed. Every day guarding the lighthouse at Gemini Cape, reading the newspaper leisurely, and accompany the whale rab waiting for the Lombard pirates. He also yearns for the days of the sea, but he is getting old. Now he also said. Rayleigh refused. I think we should leave. The old pirates glanced at each other. It seems that the Roger pirate group is completely unable to return. Like this pirate era, it gradually disappears. For a while, the atmosphere was silent. Pluto Rayleigh also sighed. Time. When I was young, I wanted to grow up. When you are old, think of youth. The ones that pass away will never come back. Oh, everyone is here. At this moment, a voice rang. This was a normal thing at first, but this sound brought a very familiar feeling to Pluto Rayleigh, Kuroka's and others. Wait, this sound seems to be. Pluto Rayleigh noticed something first, and suddenly looked towards a place. Kuroka's and others also trembled. They also immediately looked up towards the source of the sound. What's wrong? What's wrong? Luffy and the others looked at each other, and also looked over. Over there, standing a figure. Chuan. Chapter 191. Advertise here. Chapter 191. Shinigami's ending technique. Return of Roger 8th more. At this moment, Pluto Rayleigh and others are watching this figure. Looking at him, Pluto Rayleigh waited on his face. Astonishment flashed one by one. They all wondered if there was something wrong with their eyes, otherwise, how could they see this person appear in front of them? Marine Dr. Kuroka said in disbelief. Oh my god, what the hell is going on? Even if Soul Society really exists, Captain Roger should stay there, not here. What? This person is Roger, Kuroka said, making Luffy, Zoro, Sanji and others on the side stare out and screamed. One Piece Roger, in this sea, who would not know his name, but who would want it, he actually appeared again. Hey, I said, I don't need to be so surprised if I saw me again. Now Roger's mouth is grinning, his smile is the same as Zaraki Kenpachi in Shinigami, it looks so hideous. But Roger in the eyes of Pluto Rayleigh and others, his smile was so gentle, so that scene after scene of memories flashed in their minds. They can't forget it anyway. In the days when they were on the ship, everyone had a vigorous vigor when they were young, and their vigor was accompanied by this man, accompanied by the flag of the Roger pirate group. Since I have come here, everyone, let us have a carnival now. After speaking, the sword in Roger's hand slashed into the space. No one knows what Roger is doing, but in the next moment he was cut off the table, fine wine, and all kinds of food. Looking at Roger's hand, Luffy's eyes couldn't help but let out their eyes. The other old pirates did not expect their captain to have such ability. An old pirate, after a long time, broke the silence. Captain, what the hell is going on with you? How could you suddenly come back to life again, and you have such power? But Roger didn't say anything, just said 3 words. This is the perfect manifestation technique bestowed by the Spirit King. I am now a member of execution. This scene at this moment was also remembered by the passing seagulls and other birds. They flew back to Morgan's hands, and Morgan's couldn't believe it. The One Piece King who was already dead, Roger appeared again. Oh my god, big news, this is news that can shake the sea. Although it is much smaller than the appearance of the new era, Roger has received the power bestowed by the Spirit King. This news will definitely stir the world. Morgan's was shaking with excitement. Under Morgan's urgency, soon, one after another newspapers appeared on the sea. This is Naval Headquarters. Yes, remember what I said, anyone who violates the true marine spirit will be expelled, even Sakazuki. Sengoku, the Buddha, now has a big hand and slammed the conference table, aggressively, looking passionate and energetic. Garp waited a little and nodded. Akainu also lowered his head. Unexpectedly, Sengoku, who wanted to resign so much on weekdays, has become so fighting spirit now. Akainu could predict that he was afraid that in this life, he had nothing to do with martial marine. Read more at mtlarchive.com. Akainu can no longer see his future, where he is. At this time, boom, there was a muffled sound. The door of the meeting room was brutally knocked open. Sengoku, the Buddha who was talking about his 2-year plan and 3-year goal, was also taken aback by this movement. Zephyr, what are you doing? You are an old man at Marine, what should be done and what should not be done. Other people don't know, can you still not know? Sengoku of Buddha was a little helpless. Is it because of Aizen? Zephyr has been hit too hard. So forget the importance of discipline. Sengoku, now is not the time to talk about this, you guys quickly read this newspaper. Zephyr hurriedly put a newspaper on the conference table. What else can first say? Marine is a running dog. He once gave his life to the world government, but now works for the Spirit King. It's ridiculous. How much does the Spirit King exist? He can understand. Sengoku of Buddha smiled disdainfully. Enter the ninja world and let the Spirit King see Marine's performance. I was given what I wanted by the Spirit King. At this point, the Buddha of Sengoku and others are dreaming of it. Morgans can say whatever he wants, and write whatever he wants. Sengoku doesn't mind waiting. No, it's Roger. Roger is back. Zephyr slapped the table sharply and interrupted Sengoku's words. Roger. In the times of Zephyr, Garp, and Sengoku, this guy was the most troublesome pirate in the sea. You know Lox is very powerful, but Lox did not get the title of One Piece. Most of the time, he was an enemy of the world government. But Roger is what Naval headquarters has to concentrate on. Sengoku of Buddha looked at each other. Roger. Roger is back. They froze for a while, not knowing what to say. Let me see. Garp's complexion was complex. He took the newspaper, and then he watched it. The photos in the newspaper are so clear. Yes, Roger, it's Roger. Morgans, he won't be fooled by such things. Garp's eyes widened too. This is not true, is it? Roger is back. What does the newspaper say? What? Roger got the perfect manifestation technique bestowed by the Spirit King. What is this perfect manifestation technique? The sea shook. Bullet also got this newspaper. After reading it, he decided to do one thing. Chapter 192. Advertise here. Bullet has read the newspaper carefully. Has Roger returned? Also got new power. Bullet has always been very confident of his own strength, even if Admiral is in front of him, he is not afraid of anything. Beast Kaido, the arrival of Ant or something. He is not afraid of Bullet either. But now, with the changes in the ocean, Bullet understands that he has to take it to the next level. He has always wanted to fight Captain Roger again, and now, he must gain new powers. The original sacred place, Mary Geoise, has been completely broken, but here, there is a huge door, which is the door to the ninja world. Now, Bullet is here. His pirate ship is still fast. His pirate group is very unique. It is called Catapult. It is a submarine that looks like a whale. This ship is filled with all weapons and iron. Bullet regards it as the only partner. He can use 18 abilities and the boat fits together. Your Majesty Spirit King, have you heard my voice? Facing such an existence, even if it is tall and strong, with long blonde hair, wearing earmuffs, wearing a military uniform, and rampant Bullet, respect emerges in his tone. In the Spirit Palace, Chen Tian is watching the Roger pirates. Now they are gathering, and the Straw Hat pirates are also joining them. Roger and Luffy have similar temperaments, and the two are drinking heavily. This is nothing good. Shockingly, the increase is not much. Roger hasn't done anything yet, and the Zero team hasn't appeared. Now, the voice of Bullet called Chen Tian's eyes through the boundary wall and looked towards the direction of Pirate World, the Holy Land Mary Geoise. Suddenly, in the sky, rays of light shone on the earth. Bullet knew that the Spirit King must have heard his words. Your Majesty the Spirit King, I would like to take a trip to the ninja world. May I ask, what can I do for you? Chen Tian was in the Spirit Palace, and he did not expect that the pirate world would be the first to want to go to the ninja world, Bullet. This guy, the original member of the Roger Pirates. The man called the heir of grinding ghosts, overwhelmed others with overwhelming power. He is comparable to Pluto Rayleigh, who is the right arm of One Piece. Chen Tian wanted to come, maybe the shock points obtained in this way would be more. Ding, unlock 1% of the Spirit King treasure. The treasure house of the Spirit King. Belongs to the treasure house of the Spirit King. It belongs to the building within the Spirit Palace. Read more at mtlarchive.com. Go ahead. Chen Tian speaks. His vast voice, with great power, descended on the pirate world. Simultaneously, Holy Land Mary Geoise, there have been many live phone bugs long ago, and they started to broadcast live. All over the world, the live broadcast screen suddenly turned on. This guy is Naval Headquarters. The Buddha Sengoku and others have not resurrected from Roger, and recovered from the shock of the completion of the manifestation technique. Unexpectedly, the screen in the conference hall suddenly turned on, playing the scenery of the Holy Land Mary Geoise. The man standing there, Sengoku of Buddha, etc., will never forget. Bullet used to be a soldier, and rushed to the battlefield at a young age. He was extremely powerful and was embraced as a hero by everyone. However, taking an event as an opportunity, he resigned from the army. After meeting Roger and boarding his ship, he was active in that era as a precious combat power. At that time, he was equal to the Deputy Captain Rayleigh, but Bullet was not proud of it, but instead strengthened his training. But after Roger got sick, he was hit and went on a crooked road until he was arrested. Aokiji solemnly said. Almost forgot, the fellow Blackbeard destroyed Impel Down, and many characters escaped on the 6th floor, including this guy. The Buddha Sengoku gritted his teeth. Damn Blackbeard. The guy is dead, but the trouble left behind has not been eliminated. Now watching the live broadcast, Bullet walked up to the door of New World. Lieutenant General Crane analyzed. It seems that he also wants to perform in front of the Spirit King and gain greater strength. Garp also picked his nose and said, "This guy, if we gain power and then make a big fuss in the sea, what should we do? You know, we all respect the Spirit King, but the Spirit King is like raising Gu, let us fighting, will not interfere, what he needs is the strongest subordinate. Sengoku of Buddha, what can I do now? Rush to the Holy Land Mary Geoise, stop Bullet. No, Bullet is now also regarded as the Spirit King, which is why the Buddha Sengoku did not leave Marine guards in that place. Now the Buddha Sengoku can only hope that Bullet performs badly, but is this possible? Unless there is a guy in the ninja world who is many times stronger than Third Raikage, that's all right." Roger, who was drinking, waited. One of the old pirates fell out of the live phone bug, and suddenly, the situation of Mary Geoise, a holy place, was screened. Oh, it's him. Roger was also attracted by the picture. Bullet, he won't forget this guy. Pluto Rayleigh also nodded. He was actually very afraid of Bullet. He was strong enough, coupled with a terrifying devil fruit power. This guy, Devil Fruit, has already awakened. If he performs well and gains greater power, then. Pluto Rayleigh took a look. Luffy secretly said that this kid, it is difficult to be a pirate king. Now, people from all over the pirate world are watching the live broadcast. The old people on the sea will never forget the descendants of this devil. They talked about Bullet's deeds to the younger generation. When you know that Shanks, the redhead, is not as good as Bullet, the young people on the sea understand how terrible this guy is. 2 of the 4 emperors today are absent. Roger's appearance, although he is the One Piece, how many people are willing to admit now, only admit that he is one of the 4 emperors. But Bullet, he also has the strength to become the 4 emperors. Does he want to perform well in front of His Majesty the Spirit King? Then if he performs well, what would he want from His Majesty the Spirit King? ... The Holy Land Mary Geoise. A light shines on Bullet, letting Bullet know the general situation of the ninja world. There are a lot of treasures in this world, so I will take one and give it to the Spirit King. With a smile on the corner of his mouth, Bullet enters the gate of New World. At the gate, the scene changed, and Bullet appeared in it. The live phone worm continued to broadcast live, broadcasting the pictures on the gate screen to all parts of the sea. As the Spirit King, Chen Tian has clearly seen the idea of Bullet. Bullet wants to contribute his dragon veins to himself. Ninja World, I hope you can provide more shock points. Chapter 193. Advertise here. Ninja World. This is an underground exchange. Although it is said that underground exchanges do not have the scale of gold exchanges established by the 5 major countries, they are more popular. Money laundering and other things are carried out here. Countries seem to have acquiesced to such former rules and did not target underground exchanges. Do what? The construction of the underground exchange where Bullet has come now seems to have been around for a certain period of time. Looking at the live broadcast, Bullet entered the underground exchange. People in Pirate World watched the live broadcast intently. Sure enough, this ninja world also exists in the underground world. The world still has some similarities. The underground world of Pirate World. Now speaking of the boss, I have to mention the Golden Emperor. After Doflamingo was destroyed, his underground forces were taken away by the Golden Emperor. Today, the cadres of the Don Quixote family are gathered together and are watching the live broadcast. Perhaps we should also go to the Holy Land Mary Geoise. If we can perform well in front of His Majesty the Spirit King, maybe we can let the young master return. Said Diamante, who fluttered the fruit. You are right, but we still know too little about the ninja world. The only strong one we know at the moment is what Third Raikage is. To be honest, we people seem to be not his opponents. Has been kicked. Wilgo, who came out of Marine, said calmly, so we must now figure out the general situation of the ninja world. The cadres nodded. ... Ninja world. There is another person with the same purpose as Bullet. As he walked, he thought. Now that the war outside is in full swing, Third Raikage has been killed. Next, Cloud Shinobi Village will inevitably unite with some ninja villages to retaliate. The ninja world will not be peaceful, it is the best time for me to devour the power of the dragon veins. Thinking about it, he walked to the place where the news was sold. This person is no one else, but Beizu. However, it was when Beizu was about to buy news about dragon veins. Boom, boom, boom. Everyone present heard bursts of explosions and shouts. Enemy attack. After hearing the shout, the people in the underground exchange were all panicked. The figure was constantly bombarded by gravity, hitting the wall. Soon after, a tall figure appeared in front of everyone. Who are you? What is the purpose of attacking my trading? At this time, the exchange's reporter stood up. Afterwards, the person who spoke to the exchange saw a sneer on the other side's face. Boom. He blasted out with a heavy fist, and directly beat the person to death. His muscles showed up, making everyone feel a little frightened. Then, I saw, he stepped forward. Read more at mtlarchive.com. Every step of the way caused the hearts of everyone around him to beat violently a few times involuntarily. One of the 4 emperors, Bullet. Bullet looked at the story of the underground exchange indifferently. I'm instructed to get the news of the dragon veins and give it to me. With that, Bullet's voice fell. When talking about the underground exchange, the person seemed to have been punctuated by someone, and was stunned in place. Underground exchanges naturally have a lot of business every day. People come here to buy everything. Of course, there are news of buying, but they all bring real money or other valuable things to exchange. Where is there such a direct killer? Hundreds of feet startled. There are people who have the same purpose as themselves. The power of dragon veins has been secret in the ninja world since its existence. There are very few people in the ninja world who know the power of dragon veins. But now, the other party clearly knows the existence of dragon vein power. 4 emperors. Bullet. Whether it's Beizu or the other people in the underground exchange, it's all stunned at this moment. What 4 emperors? I've never heard of it before. But the opponent raises his hands, the physical skills are terrible. How can you be silent? On the underground exchange side, they don't even know the slightest bit of information about this name. You know, underground exchanges have always given the impression of mystery. Powerful. There is an extremely terrifying intelligence network, but now they don't know the origin of the other party. This. Quote exclamation mark exclamation mark exclamation mark quote. At this moment in the mind of the reporter of the underground exchange, there was a message that had just arrived not long ago. That is the message sent from Cloud Shinobi Village, indicating that there is a Hueco Mundo. At that time, the people in the underground exchange didn't take it seriously, but they felt that Cloud Shinobi Village was talking nonsense and wanted to make trouble in the Third Ninja War. Hueco Mundo. If it exists, how could the underground exchange not know? But now the people in the underground exchange are also staying, maybe they really don't know, because they haven't even heard of 4 emperors. Don't think too much, tell me where the dragon vein power is. However, just as the person in the underground exchange was analyzing the details of Bullet in his heart, Bullet's mouth lightly glanced. Impossible. Quote. What the underground exchange said coldly. Even if everyone knows that Bullet may be an extremely difficult enemy in the underground exchange, it is impossible for him to succumb just because of a few words of Bullet. If this is the case, how will the underground exchange be mixed up in the future? Do it. With that, the voice of the reporter of the underground exchange fell. A dozen figures appeared beside Bullet in the blink of an eye. They all held extremely sharp ninja swords in their hands, and appeared around Bullet with extremely fast body flicker technique, and at the same time, they all raised the ninja swords in their hands and attacked towards Bullet. And they are the guard members of the underground exchange. Each of them has been carefully selected countless times to become the guard of the underground exchange, specifically to maintain the safety of this underground exchange. In terms of identity, most Li's Jiao are rebellious, maybe not S-level, but they are also A-level rebellious. At this time, including the story of the underground exchange, the people and others sneered involuntarily in their hearts. What 4 emperors? I don't want to think about it. The underground exchange can exist, naturally there are terrible places. I think you are also the so-called 4 emperors. But so. However, that's when they just thought about it. Chong, chong, chiang. Shinobu stabbed Bullet's body, but there was a burst of metal crashing sound. At this time, everyone around saw Bullet's mouth curling up with a curve of disdain. Bullet's physical strength was originally beyond ordinary, and armament hockey, those Jonin's attacks were also useless. At the same time, Bullet raised his fist. Then let you see my strength. Chapter 194. Advertise here. People in Pirate World are also watching the live broadcast. Bullet shot. Right now, Ninja World, in the underground exchange, Bullet's fist finally bombarded it out. One punch after another, they were continuously released. One after another, the pressure was released from Bullet's fist. Boom, 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 boom. The story of the underground exchange. The people who looked at the dozen or so underground exchanges Jonin were all hit by Bullet. This is a terrible twisted fist that can beat people alive. Under such fists, people are like fleshy flesh. Gulong. Gulong. At this time, the people in the underground exchange couldn't help swallowing a few spits. He is scared. The strength displayed by Bullet really made him feel fear. After more than a dozen shinobi swords were stabbed on the body, they were unscathed. This is really beyond the expectations of the underground exchange. He didn't expect that there are people like Bullet in this world who are not afraid of the attack of ninja sword, so they can bear it abruptly. Blood succession boundary. The opponent has a blood succession boundary similar to Gang Dun. It's not just a matter of people. Beizu and others were also shocked. Ding, congratulations on getting 1 million shock points in the underground exchange. Close black lens bracket. Ding, congratulations on getting 100,000 shock points for 100 feet. Opening square bracket ... closing square bracket. Chen Tian of the Spirit Palace also heard the voice of the system and nodded. The current performance of Bullet is pretty good. To be honest, who is the owner of the underground exchange in the ninja world? It can actually exist forever. You know, many greedy guys in the ninja world have not done anything to the underground exchange. Behind the underground exchange, I am afraid that it has something to do with the high-level figures of the 5 major countries. Ninja world. At this time, Bullet turned to look at the reporter of the underground exchange, his face was full of disdain. You, and why did you choose to die? Obviously, just hand in what I want. Bullet said lightly. After hearing Bullet's words, the person at the underground exchange didn't respond at all. He chose to attack Bullet. It turned into an afterimage, and it attacked Bullet directly. At the same time, the countless guards around him also started to work together. Clone technique. Water-style water dragon bomb technique. Earth-style earth thorn technique. Countless ninjutsu is constantly attacking Bullet, and the momentum is extremely astonishing. But, in the face of these attacks on him, there was no slight change in Bullet's face. Whether it was the elite Jonin, or Chunin's attack, he didn't make any moves. Read more at mtlarchive.com. These attacks bombarded Bullet's body, and none of them had any effect. After all, the strength of Bullet's body makes it a very strong body. Without armament haki, the defense is still very strong. It is precisely because of this that, no matter what ninjutsu or weapons, all have no effect on Bullet. This guy, who is he? This guy, he has a blood inheritance boundary that we haven't seen before. Yes, our attacks seem to be ineffective to him. Monster. This guy is a monster. Facing the result that was basically completely incomprehensible, on the expressions of all the people present, a touch of ugly color that was extremely rich and extremely ugly appeared. Not to mention the guards, even the people who talked about the underground exchange, at this time, the heart is already heavy to the extreme. The opponent's defensive power has completely exceeded his cognition. All of these, naturally, it fell in the eyes of Naval Headquarters, Sengoku of Buddha and others who watched the live broadcast. The fellow Bullet already boasts of being 4 emperors, isn't it? Buddha Sengoku slapped the table angrily. Now, Soul Society as a whole, Hueco Mundo, is also the whole. But in this world, it is not yet. Sengoku of Buddha hopes that the present world can also be a whole, so that it can contend with Hueco Mundo and Soul Society. But now they don't even have the qualifications to contest. Of course, Sengoku's view of the Buddha is that the present world can also be a whole, which is the whole led by Naval Headquarters. He still did not allow the pirates to grow. But he does have the power to become 4 emperors. Garp nodded, having to admit this. Today's Bullet is nothing but a small test. The ghost is not combined with haki. Even the power of Devil Fruit hasn't been used yet, and there is already a power that few people can match in 7 Warlords of the Sea. Garp knew that with Bullet's talent and aptitude, his Devil Fruit had definitely reached the point of awakening. Fight with Beast Kaido. It's 5 to 5 points too. Following Garp's words, the Buddha Sengoku was silent. I hope that the ninja world, can there be a decent guy, and clean up Bullet. ... Ninja world. Inside the underground exchange. Bullet has opened the killing mode. Boom, boom. Boom boom boom. He kept showing his heavy punches. Punch after punch, the bombardment came out continuously. Almost every punch can directly take away the life of an underground exchange guard. Bullet at this moment is like a butcher, and as for the guard ninjas, of course, they are lambs to be slaughtered. Of course, it also includes the person who speaks to the underground exchange. At this time, the person involved in the underground exchange was already beaten up by Bullet to vomit blood. Success. Bullet's low voice sounded. Woo. There was a breeze in the ears of the people of the underground exchange. When he felt that the danger had come, Bullet had already arrived in front of the reporter of the underground exchange. A fist appeared in the eyes of the reporter of the underground exchange. The fist is getting bigger and bigger. Boom. Bullet did not give people much chance to think about the story of the underground exchange. It was a punch that took away his life. See this scene. The guarding ninjas who are still around are all panicked. At this time, in their minds, there was a word escape. But, how will Bullet give them a chance? One punch after another bombarded. Directly wiped them all out. There was no splatter of scarlet blood, nor any cruel screams, only a dull crash. At this time, Bullet, standing there, his complexion was calm, and he didn't seem to be moved at all by the corpses around him. He looked at a corner. When I mentioned dragon veins just now, you guy had something wrong with his expression. It seems that you know a lot about dragon veins. Observation haki has already covered all around. Everyone's every move cannot escape Bullet's attention. As Bullet's voice fell, in that dark place, a ninja slowly walked out. It was a middle-aged man with a cold face and endless shocks appeared in his eyes at this moment. This person is not someone else, but Beizu. Chapter 195. Advertise here. Beizu looked at the surrounding ruins and corpses in a place, his expression looked a little complicated. Immediately after, he turned to look at Bullet. Looks jealous and determined. Are you so sure? Beizu asked. Beizu had seen the strength of Bullet clearly just now. What he was certain was that Bullet knew he was hiding here. And Bullet had already killed all of these people, but didn't just kill himself. This was surprisingly puzzled by Beizu. Now Beizu understands. But why can the other party notice the slight change in his expression? You are not qualified for questioning. Now, I want Dragon Vein power and give me its news. Bullet said lightly. When Beizu heard Bullet's words, the whole person was shocked. He has indeed controlled the news of Longmei. But he also worried that the underground exchange where he bought the news deceived himself. Ever since, he came to this underground exchange in a different region and wanted to buy it again to see if it was the same. But unexpectedly, such a thing would happen. Seeing that Beizu did not speak, Bullet said coldly, if you don't tell me, I will kill you. After hearing Bullet's response, Beizu fell silent. As Bullet said, indeed, he has no choice. He can survive only by relying on powerful forces. I'll take you. After a moment of contemplation, Renren Beizu spoke up. Lead the way. Bullet nodded when he heard the words. Ever since, Beizu left the underground exchange directly with Bullet, and took Bullet all the way to an extremely secret underground facility in the ancient city of Lulan. The pirate world. Whether it's marine, pirates, or revolutionary army watching the live broadcast. Their faces are not pretty. Bullet successfully got the thing called dragon vessel so easily. His performance is very good, then he will definitely get something from the Spirit King. Thought of this. Whether it is the Sengoku of Buddha, Kaido of the Beasts, or Dorag, they all gritted their teeth. One Roger is enough. If there is another Bullet that has gained power far beyond this world, this. Ding, congratulations on getting 100,000 shock points from Dorag. Ding, congratulations on getting 100,000 horror points of Kaido. Open black lens bracket, close black lens bracket. Ninja World, Konoha Village. Read more at mtlarchive.com. Inside the Naruto office, third Hokage Seireitei Hiruzen, sitting in a chair at this time. At this moment, the nin male, who has astounded the entire ninja world, has not yet grown old. He is still in his prime of life, and he looks extremely majestic. Of course, isn't that true inside? This is a last resort. At this moment, his expression is extremely solemn. With the outbreak of the ninja war and the death of the third Raikage, Seireitei Hiruzen's brain has been under a high load. The reason is nothing more than the death of third Raikage. Seireitei Hiruzen also knows the power of this guy. I didn't expect that such a powerful guy would be taken away by others. In this world, there are very few ninjas who can kill him head-on, and in the Ninja World War, those ninjas who can be compared with third Raikage are really too few. Why can the organization called Hueco Mundo do this? Seireitei Hiruzen felt that the organization, Hueco Mundo, was also threatening to the world of ninja, so he knew that the war was approaching. Seireitei Hiruzen decisively sent a large number of spies to patrol the border of the country of fire. However, just now, a message came from a spy. In the border of the country of fire, fierce fighting has taken place on the underground exchange, and it is suspected that it has been attacked by an unknown strong man. Single quote. The news alone has greatly increased Seireitei Hiruzen's vigilance several times. Unknown strong. Is it that Espada's Ulquiorra? What did he do to attack the underground exchange? What is the purpose of Hueco Mundo? Is it specifically aimed at me at Konoha Village? After hearing the news, Seireitei Hiruzen's eyebrows tightened unexpectedly, and he kept asking himself in his heart. The war is approaching. However, nowadays, there is an unknown, and an extremely powerful organization suddenly appears. All of this makes Seireitei Hiruzen feel a taste of conspiracy. It was as if there was a huge behind-the-scenes hand pushing all this behind. Especially the connection between the two occurrences was beyond Seireitei Hiruzen's expectations. Find flowers. No, this matter must be investigated clearly. Otherwise, I will not sleep well. I thought of this. Seireitei Hiruzen quickly made the decision, and without hesitation, he opened his mouth and said to the door, "Tell Minato to come to me." Yes, Hokage-sama. The response sounded. At this time, Seireitei Hiruzen was constantly pacing in the Hokage office, with frowning eyebrows, recalling his previous arrangements, whether there was any negligence in the end. The sudden appearance of the mysterious organization of Espada of Hueco Mundo disrupted all the previous arrangements of Seireitei Hiruzen. At this time, Seireitei Hiruzen, he was even more worried that Hueco Mundo would attack the Fire Country and even Konoha Village. It is very possible, Konoha Village, with so many conditions. Is he, Hueco Mundo, not greedy? He Konoha Village ninjutsu so much. Is he, Hueco Mundo, not greedy? You know, now during the Ninja War, a slight mistake may cause Konoha Village to lose in the Ninja War. This is what Seireitei Hiruzen doesn't want to see. Therefore, he must consider all hidden worries and arrange them properly. So Seireitei Hiruzen can feel relieved. This time he just wanted Namikaze Minato to investigate what happened on the underground exchange. As for the battlefield, for the time being, Orochimaru, Jiraiya, and Tsunade are here, so I think there should be no problem. But Namikaze Minato always takes a step slower when it matters, it's true. Right now, Bullet has gained the power of dragon veins. Spirit King, I will dedicate it to you. Before the majestic power of the dragon, Bullet roared. Centipede was completely sluggish. Isn't this man who thinks this horrible devil mad now? Ding, congratulations on gaining the power of dragon veins. Close black lens bracket. The voice of the system rang in Chen Tian's ears. Ding, congratulations on obtaining the treasure house of the Spirit King. Close black lens bracket. Ding, the power of the dragon veins is stored in the treasure house of the Spirit King. Close black lens bracket. Ninja World. The power of the dragon veins suddenly disappeared. Bullet knew that the Spirit King had already shot. But the Beizu at the moment was stupid there. Oh my god, what happened? Your Majesty the Spirit King. At this moment, Bullet shouted again, please grant me the power to become Arrancar. Chuan. Chapter 196. Advertise here. What is Arrancar? It is the imaginary who has realized the power of Shinigami, also called the imaginary of Shinigami. Generally speaking, it is Manos Grande Jillian and above that can be derived into Arrancar. Bullet. I didn't know the existence of Arrancar. But Chen Tian intended to lead, and when he gave some information to the Bullet Ninja world, he also gave him some basic knowledge of Shu and Shinigami. In the end, Bullet chose the power of Arrancar from Hueco Mundo. Of course he also knows the power of Shinigami, and it is also very strong, but Gotei 13 gives him the feeling that it seems too righteous, not suitable for him. Bullet. Now Bullet is yelling frantically. Beizu is already looking silly, and he never expected that such a strong man would turn into his current frenetic appearance. At the same time, Beizu is also curious, who just took the dragon veins, and now who is the majesty of the Spirit King, who is shouting with respect and respect in Bullet's mouth. At this time, the people in Pirate World watching this live broadcast are all clenched fists, especially Sengoku of the Buddha and Dorag, as well as Roger and Kaido, these big guys in Pirate World. Both stared at the live broadcast. They all want to know what kind of monster Bullet will become. In the Marine headquarters, Sengoku, the Buddha, slapped the desktop with an angry palm. What is going on in that ninja world? Why hasn't anyone come out to stop Bullet? Bullet took away the power from His Majesty the Spirit King, and then returned to the world of the sea. Then, how will his Marine headquarters stop Bullet? Where is this monster? At the same time, what do he think those people in the ninja world do? The efficiency is too slow. Yeah, if I had rushed over long ago. Kizaru, who has the ability of sparkling fruit, was playing as an afterthought. Sengoku glanced at the Buddha. What did Kizaru say? To be honest, Sengoku, the current Buddha, actually has some doubts about Kizaru, but this guy is an important force in naval headquarters, so he can only use his calculations at the moment. Every time this guy goes out, it seems to get only so little. In particular, I got news from the Revolutionary Army and asked Kizaru to take a trip. Basically, he brought back some small buildings. Like the important cadres of the Revolutionary Army, they are rarely caught. It seems that Ivankov was also arrested back then. But it was not caught by Kizaru either. At that time, Akainu also set off with Kizaru. Now we need to think about countermeasures. Buddha Sengoku said solemnly. The people in the sea, no, maybe it's better to call them people from Soul Society. They're called the present world. If they cannot unite the front, then how could there be Soul Society and Hueco Mundo in front of the Spirit King? What about such a performance? Especially in the current Bullet, he has gained the power of the imaginary Arrancar. So, does he belong to the world or Hueco Mundo? If it belongs to Hueco Mundo, it undoubtedly weakens the power of the world and strengthens Hueco Mundo. Thinking of this, Sengoku of Buddha is even more irritated. Well, now I give you the power to become Arrancar. In that ninja world, Bullet's shouting voice finally got a response from the Spirit King. Rumble. The next moment a terrible change occurred in Bullet's body. A more terrifying aura was born from Bullet's body, and then Bullet's body was covered with white cellular objects, which covered Bullet and swallowed it completely. Oh my god, what the hell is this? At this moment, the 100 clan, looking at the changes in Bullet in front of them, and the terrifying aura that showed off, directly scared Beizu's pupils, and his legs couldn't help but tremble. 100 feet are also retreating. No way, I must leave here. Beizu feels that his use value is gone. If he stays with this monster, who knows what will happen. 100 feet back. Next moment, a monster covered in white matter appeared. He had the appearance of Bullet, but half of his face was covered by something like white bones. Read more at mtlarchive.com. His black military uniform became white. Now, he clenched his fists. He could perceive it, and now the power of the fruit, has also been upgraded. Where are you going? Bullet's voice is gloomy and terrifying. Beizu's voice was shaking. I think it's time to go, right? Finished. 100 feet gritted his teeth, speeded up, and wanted to leave the man. Be one with me. Bullet stretched out his palm, the next moment. Do not. 100 feet screamed in panic, but it was of no use at all. It was directly absorbed by Bullet and became a substance of strength, which merged with Bullet's body. 100 feet. Gone. This is not death, but a kind of end to become nourishment. The pirate world. Looking at the current power of Bullet in the live broadcast, whether it is the pirate, marine, revolutionary army or something. Most people swallowed hard. In this case, if he combines more demon fruit power, wouldn't his power? The fusion fruit has undergone an abnormal change, and it has actually produced such power. I hope such a monster will not come back to our sea again. At this time, in front of Bullet, a golden light flashed by. To be honest, Kizaru, who was watching the live broadcast, couldn't help but stare. This ability was somewhat similar to his own, on the surface. Immediately, a figure appeared. He has a dashing and handsome face, wearing a green vest, among which is a blue tights. Back then, he sealed the dragon vein. As soon as he arrived at the underground exchange, everyone died, but the people in the underground exchange were not all rubbish. At least they left a death message, referring to the land of the dragon veins. Now, Namikaze Minato finally arrived. This guy. Perceiving the terrifying momentum of the Bullet in front of him, Namikaze Minato's pupils also shrank suddenly, and his heart was extremely shaken. Namikaze Minato found that even Kushina sometimes showed Nine Tails chakra without such a terrible feeling. Who the hell is this? Bullet, one of the 4 emperors. No, I should say that it is the man who will become a Spada. Bullet spoke lightly. The information in his mind is Highspeed himself, now he is number 13. Not one of a Spada. This is called Bullet upset. Of course, he also knows that, Hueco Mundo, is a place to fight. If you can kill an Espada, then you are eligible to replace it. Hueco Mundo. Hueco Mundo. Again, Namikaze Minato looked wary. Not long ago, the 3rd Raikage of Yinran village had his head taken away by Ulquiorra, one of the Espadas of Hueco Mundo. Now there is another, Hueco Mundo. Simultaneously. 4 emperors. Got 2 pieces of information. 4 emperors and a Spada. Namikaze Minato's heart became extremely heavy at this moment. The coercion given to him by the other party was too strong. He never thought that such an organization would exist in the shinobi world. So in the end it is strong. Or is the strength as strong as the aura? Namikaze Minato took a deep breath and calmed himself down. I hope that more information can be obtained from the battle. It's just this battle. Very dangerous. Chapter 197. Advertise here. 20. At this moment, most people in Pirate World are watching this live broadcast. They also saw the speed of Namikaze Minato just now. To be honest, the speed just now. Putting it in the world of the sea, I am afraid that very few people can quickly become like this. Even Kizaru in Naval Headquarters is now amazed. Yo, it's really fast, just worse it's going to be faster than me at one point, it's really scary. Everyone at Naval Headquarters knows that Kizaru is simply showing off. Kizaru, who has the ability of sparkling fruit, hasn't lost anyone in terms of speed. Of course, Soul Societies is no longer a human being. Sengoku of Buddha shook his head and said, the speed of this young guy hasn't really been compared with you, it's not always sure who is faster. Kizaru shrugged when he heard these words, as if he hadn't heard. Garp thought of something and slowly said, but the other party is definitely better than you. The eyes under Kizaru's sunglasses have gradually become more serious. What is it? The other person looks like a talent completely different from you. Hearing Garp's words, the Marine generals in the Naval Headquarters conference hall nodded. This sentence is absolutely correct. Namikaze Minato in the live broadcast, whose 18th appearance is on the sea, is really hard to find. Comparable. Kizaru. Ninja World. Namikaze Minato knew that he had to fight the opponent, and got more information from the opponent, and immediately in Namikaze Minato's hand, a shuriken was projected out. Passing through the space, it was very standard, and came towards the bullet's vitals, but bullet stood there, and was hit by a shuriken. The Erinkarized bullet did not use armament hockey, but directly unplugged it. The shuriken on his body recovered from his wounds. Such healing power is even more terrifying than Jinchuriki. Namikaze Minato knew that Jinchuriki's wounds healed faster than ordinary people, but it was definitely not so good in an instant. The next moment, Namikaze Minato suddenly appeared in front of Bullet. Bullet couldn't help but be taken aback. He didn't see exactly how the opponent came out. Suddenly, there was a Rasengan. The air around him turned quickly, with terrible force. It hit Bullet's body and directly bombarded Bullet and flew out. Boom. The wall collapsed. The dust is billowing. ... Seeing Namikaze Minato's speed, some people on the sea stared. They didn't know what happened just now. They just saw Namikaze Minato suddenly appeared in front of Bullet, which was fast and terrifying. Of course, the big guys on the sea gradually understood something. The leader of the Revolutionary Army, Dorag, Kaido and others, Sengoku of Buddha, and others, can now be seen clearly. It's not so much speed, it's more about crossing space. From one space to another. To be honest, in fact, there are fruits with similar spatial capabilities on the sea. But it seems that those who have the ability of this devil fruit have not developed it properly, so they are silent. Kizaru in Naval Headquarters is also dignified. His is the speed of light, and his opponent is the space. In this case, who is faster? Kizaru felt unsure in his heart. Ninja World was hit by Rasengan, but Bullet's injury quickly recovered directly. Bullet was very satisfied with his Erinkar's body at this moment. The so-called Erinkar actually has such power, which makes Bullet feel excited. The only upset is that he is not one of Espada. Immediately. The ghost spirit combined with the power of Erinkar, and suddenly, Bullet shot. Hit it with a punch. Suddenly, the huge force caused the space to be torn apart, and a terrible sonic boom was emitted. Read more at mtlarchive.com. This punch hit Namikaze Minato fiercely. Namikaze Minato threw the Flying Thunder God Shuriken again, where he was standing, completely collapsed. I'm good at fleeing, but where can you run? Bullet looked at Namikaze Minato indifferently, knowing that the Spirit King must be looking here too. Therefore, he must be invincible. Who the hell is this guy? Bullet no longer cares. Anyway, Bullet wants his life. Flying Thunder God second stage. Just when Bullet thought so, well, Namikaze Minato appeared in front of Bullet again. The big ball Rasengan in his hand, from top to bottom, slammed into Bullet fiercely. But, Ghost Spirit, Armament Hockey, the power of Erinkar. Boom. Namikaze Minato's eyes widened. It was hard to imagine that with such a strong attack, hitting Bullet with no effect at all. Too hard. Hard, so big ball Rasengan can't go any further. At the same time, Bullet's eyes without human emotions looked at Namikaze Minato. What's the matter with your spatial power? It's okay if you integrate with you. Bullet reached out his hand. Namikaze Minato hurriedly avoided. For a while, Bullet was attacking and Namikaze Minato was unable to resist. In terms of attack power, Namikaze Minato was a bit worse after all. Today's Namikaze Minato can only dodge with Flying Thunder God. The building began to collapse completely, surrounding the desert. Strong winds. Namikaze Minato found that if it was true, chakra could not last long. This is not ninjutsu, nor is it chakra's power. Hueco Mundo, 4 emperors, what exactly is it? This is a monster at all. The more he fought, the more horrified Namikaze Minato became. He is not a strong man of blood succession boundary. But it is a real genius. Since his debut, he found that he had never faced such a tough opponent before, and he even felt that his teacher Jiraiya was waiting in front of such a monster, afraid that he was not an opponent, right? The opponent's shots are fierce every time, and they are coming right at the point. Such a technique can only be forged by fighting on the battlefield. The opponent's body is so powerful that it is not human at all, and it is beyond the scope of Jinchuriki. Whether it's attacking or defending, Namikaze Minato knows that he is a lot behind each other, and the reason why he has not been killed at present is just because. Flying Thunder God. Right now, Namikaze Minato faces 2 choices. First, drag it down with Flying Thunder God, see what other tricks the other party has, and get more information. Second, use Flying Thunder God to leave directly for a long distance. When Namikaze Minato was thinking, Bullet finally used the ring, he had already remembered Namikaze Minato's mark of Flying Thunder God here, about what it was, and about where Namikaze Minato would appear. Namikaze Minato had made a wrong judgment in his mind just now, and there was no immediate time to leave here. Right now, 5 fingers pinched Namikaze Minato's neck during Bullet. Chapter 198. Advertise here. 22. Bullet's 5 fingers pinched Namikaze Minato's neck very forcefully. Just at this time, Minato, we are here to help you. Several Konoha's Jonin arrived with their respective teams. Because they didn't have the relationship with Flying Thunder God, they arrived a lot late. When they saw this scene, they immediately shot one by one, displaying fire style, earth style and other ninjutsu. For a while, the dense ninjutsu moved towards Bullet. However, it was useless. After being hit by ninjutsu, Bullet didn't care at all. You weak ants. Bullet laughed wildly. Now, with the power of Arrancar, he only feels that he is unprecedentedly powerful. At this time, the man in the green tights ran out frantically, and then kicked on Bullet's cheek, but Bullet looked careless, because he felt no pain at all. What the hell is this guy? Our ninjutsu hit him as useless. What are you still doing there? Come back soon. We are not his opponents either. Die, what can you do there? Listening to the words of the companions behind him, Might Day's face was pale, and the physical attacks he had practiced for many years were of no use to this person. Why is it so? You weak ant. Bullet snorted directly, and suddenly a violent wind rose in the space, and a terrible force swept out of Bullet, directly flying Might Day upside down as if it was blown far away. You are all worthless things. Glancing at them and seeing them fall to the ground one by one, with a weak appearance, Bullet felt that even killing was of no value. Now you are fused into my body, letting the power you have just now be possessed by me. Bullet's eyes are full of greed, but he just feels that if he swallows the Namikaze Minato in front of him, maybe he can fight Espada, the number. Espada, and he may not lose. At that time, his Bullet will also be the 10th in Hueco Mundo. Damn it. Don't be too arrogant. Don't look down on my youth. Don't look down on my efforts. The other party even killed himself and felt that his hands were dirty, and he was too lazy to kill himself and told Might to grit his teeth. At the same time, he also knew that Feng Minato was of great significance to the village. Open the door, rest the door, live the door, the wounded door, the do door, the king door, the shocked door, open. As Might Day's voice fell, a terrible breath immediately covered Might Day's body. A terrible breath continued to rise. Then the space began to creak, and the earth began to tremble. The air flow in the space began to violently commotion. The eyes that Might wears have also become ferocious, and there seems to be a terrible light in the eyes. At this time, Might Day seems to be able to shatter everything. Everyone who watched this live broadcast of Pirate World was again and again surprised that there is such a physical magic. Garp in Naval Headquarters, thinking of something, stared at the live broadcast intently. Sengoku of Buddha also noticed the change in Garp's complexion, and couldn't help but ponder. If Garp's monster physique were added with such a secret technique, what effect would that happen? At the same time, Soul Society also watched this live broadcast. There is a building inside Seireitei, which is the headquarters of Gotei 13. Connect with the team house of the first team. There are liaison lines and a big screen, so that Captain Yamamoto can give orders to Shinigami members who are performing tasks in the world. Watching this live broadcast, Yamamoto Genryūsai was groaning and finally made his own decision. This secret technique, I saw the extent of damage to the body. The other captains listened quietly to the captain's words one by one. Read more at mtlarchive.com. The captain, in physical skills, also has a high level of attainments, he will never read it wrong. This person is suitable to be introduced into our soul society. Yamamoto Genryūsai nodded. From Might Dai's body, it seems that the captain knows people and sees a certain possibility. Now, just take a trip. Yamamoto Genryūsai opened his eyes slightly, but he faced the captain of the 13th Division, Jashiro Yukitaki. Jashiro Yukitaki stood up directly from the seat. I understand. Ninja world. Might Dai, who burst out with an endless aura of fierce beasts, now locked onto Bullet. What the hell is going on with this guy? Bullet frowned slightly. Boom. With a burst of breaking air, a burst of roar. Bullet was kicked out directly. Might was surprised and attacked suddenly. The speed has increased by many times than before. Namikaze Minato landed. Minato also looked at Might Dai in amazement. He also had an impression of this ninja. Of course, Might Dai is famous not because of how great he is, but because of how bad he is. Dai is genin of Konohagakure. He is mainly responsible for working hard for employers and helping employers find cats. Although he is a genin, he is a tough guy who insists on singing. Youth. By virtue of his bloody soul. But who could have imagined that this tough guy has such power? It hurts a bit, but it's just a bit. Bullet. Now he continues to stand up again. He also looked at Might Dai's figure in surprise. A guy like you is qualified to let me show my true power. What? Now, Namikaze Minato and others are shocked by Bullet's words, and Might Dai is also staring. What? Next moment. Bullet drank directly. Suddenly. All around, the broken buildings and sand were absorbed by Bullet one by one. With the power of Arrancar, the enhanced power seems to be integrated with everything. Next, in the space, there is silence. But watch. A huge hideous monster appeared. Boom. Surging and powerful, Li Wangjiao power, rioted out of the monster's body. The earth trembled suddenly. Feeling the horror of this monster, Namikaze Minato and other ninjas are even more pale. Even Nine Tails. It doesn't seem so scary, right? Come to me, I will take you out of here. Namikaze Minato drank. Flying Thunder God, can you take so many people away at once? Very dangerous. But it's better than being eaten by monsters here. No, you guys go quickly. Might took a deep breath and made a decision. Seeing Might Dai's choice, Namikaze Minato was stunned. Do you think you can go? The surging power rippling all over the body, sweeping away like a sea tide, the beast's cold eyes have locked on everyone like Might Dai. At this time, dead door, open, boom. Chapter 199. Dead door, open. With the loud shout of Might wearing, the steam on his body suddenly turned blood red. The blood is surging out of the body. Next moment. Chi and blood surged wildly. Might wears the aura on his body at this moment, it seems to be terrifying like an eternal beast. As this Might wear, Namikaze Minato couldn't believe it. The other ninjas looked silly at the same time. Is this still worn by 10,000 years Genin Might? They think that Master Naruto does not have such a strong aura. The space is trembling at this moment. Might Dai seemed to be the focus. The pirate world, marine, pirates, revolutionary army, etc. all watched this scene in amazement. At this moment, the aura that Might wears, just watching the live broadcast, makes people numb. A week after using it, is it so strong? It seems that Admiral can be killed alive without a problem. Then can I practice? If I can do this, then what is Admiral? I can get into naval headquarters alone. Quote. The Spirit Palace. Ding. Congratulations on getting Namikaze Minato 10,000 shock points. Ding. Congratulations on getting. Because the power of Bullet was bestowed by Chen Tian. Therefore, because of the Bullet relationship, Might Dai, who used the 8 inner gates formation, the shock point he caused was also superimposed on Chen Tian at this moment. Chen Tian is also looking at this battle in the ninja world through the boundary wall. Might Dai is actually a talent. Namikaze Minato, it was blown too much. Ninja world, really pay attention to pedigree theory. Namikaze Minato has no blood, no matter how talented he is, he can only reach this level. The power of Namikaze Minato lies in the Flying Thunder God, you can't beat it, you can run. Just now, Namikaze Minato can run away completely, but unfortunately, because I want to get more information about Hueco Mundo from Bullet. And so, he just lost. In addition, before Bullet, the ring was hidden, and suddenly it was displayed. Namikaze Minato finally suffered, but Namikaze Minato is indeed far inferior to Bullet in terms of strength. If it hasn't become Arrancar's Bullet, Minato sacrifices himself and casts the ghoul to seal it all, maybe he can succeed. But now it's impossible. It is impossible for Arrancar to use ghouls to seal such things. The whole body is burning with monstrous red steam, it seems like blood. At last, Might moved. Terrible speed. When he moved, it seemed to be swept away like a hurricane. In the next moment, has appeared in front of the huge monster incarnation of Bullet. Then, boom, hit it up, boom, 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 it hit again and again. With each impact, an astonishing wind, with a devastating aftermath, moved toward the surroundings like lightning. 8 inner gates formation. Read more at mtlarchive.com. Terrible and terrifying. Boom. The air exploded out of thin air. The earth began to shake. After Might Dai broke out, the momentum was so fierce. This is absolutely the power that transcends the shadow. Namikaze Minato is also sighing. Now, Namikaze Minato looked at the ninjas behind him and said, "Here is Might Dai in charge. Let's leave here quickly." "No way. Yes, we want to stay. Minato, think about it, if we can know what power this is from Might Dai, we can do the same." Namikaze Minato. At such times, they still have such thoughts. You know, the situation is dangerous at this moment. In Namikaze Minato's view, the power that Might wears must be paid for. No one will get power without paying the price. Listen to me, go. But only a few Jonin were obedient, and some Jonin decided to stay after hesitating. The ninja in the class they brought also decided to stay. Really strong enough. The monster's body is already pitted. If it weren't for Erenkar's resilience, Bullet felt that he was dead. But how long can you support such a force? At this moment, infinite Reiatsu also burst out from the monster's body. Boom. Immediately, the monster's giant fist hit it directly. The huge fist and Might Dai's small fist suddenly collided. Boom, boom, boom. The low and harsh sound, at this time, resounded. It was a frightening sound one. Might Dai doesn't seem to feel pain. I lost all senses. He now, just know the fight. He knew that his life had come to the last moment. That being the case, then at the end, shine. Now. The red steam finally disappeared gradually. Both sides fist. Might Dai finally noticed the pain. And when all the red steam disappears. Boom. The monster punched directly on Might's body. The flesh seemed to be squashed, and after rotating 365 degrees, it smashed into the ground. Lost. Seeing this scene, the ninjas suddenly panicked and wanted to escape. Late. The bullet monster began to slaughter. The pirate world, everyone knows, is a foregone conclusion. These ninjas are dead. Looking at the live broadcast in Naval headquarters, Buddha Sengoku and others also shook their heads one by one. As Marine, there are high-rise buildings here. Of course, they will not ask why the Spirit King has Gotei 13, which dominates the order of the souls, and the existence of Hueco Mundo. Because when there is a day, there will be a land. If there is yin, there will be yang. The existence of soul society is a must. The existence of Hueco Mundo is also reasonable. Spirit King. He is no longer the so-called justice, evil can be described. At this moment, Sengoku of Buddha hopes for Bullet, don't come back to the sea. Such power. How should Naval headquarters check and balance? If Garp learns the so-called 8 inner gates formation, there is hope. Right now, Namikaze Minato sent some of his companions to a safe place and then returned. Want to continue to save people. Perhaps, it is precisely because of the spirit of Namikaze Minato that many people in Konoha village consider it to be the sun. I want your power. Fit with me. Now, the palm of the giant beast, like a broken bamboo, sticks out directly like lightning. In the next moment, he was about to catch Namikaze Minato. Stop it. The gate of crossing the boundary is opened at this moment. Jashiro Yukitake appears. He has a kind appearance, but Bullet does not dare to underestimate this Shinigami. What is the ability of Jashiro Yukitake's Zanpakuto? I'm afraid that only Marine will know. But Bullet didn't know. The opponent is Seireitei's captain, and Bullet thinks about himself, but now he is not one of Espada. Immediately, Bullet tore a hole, that is the emptiness. Erenkar can travel to and from this world from here, Hueco Mundo. Bullet left. Thank you. Namikaze Minato smiled like a sun. Jashiro Yukitake also shook his head gently. No need to say that, this is also my duty. I am the captain of Gotei 13th Division. Gotei 13. Namikaze Minato's eyes widened. What is this? Thinking of something, Namikaze Minato said seriously. Then you must know, Hueco Mundo, 4 emperors, Erenkar, right? Chapter 200. Jashiro Yukitake naturally knows, Hueco Mundo, 4 emperors and Erenkar. He thought for a moment, then nodded. Ever since, Namikaze Minato opened the door to a new world. Namikaze Minato is the most talented, elite Jonin in Konoha village. He became a shadow ninja at a young age, boasting that he was accustomed to all kinds of situations. As a mature enough ninja, he shouldn't be moved by anything. But, he is now in extreme shock. The reason is also very simple. Because what Jashiro Yukitake told him in front of him was too shocking. Subverted his cognition. Hueco Mundo is a place where Shu and Erenkar live. They are extremely powerful, and the strongest of them should be Espada. The previous Bullet was originally 4 emperors, but gained power and became a member of Hueco Mundo. However, his strength is currently not one of Espada in Hueco Mundo. You know, only in Hueco Mundo, there are 10 strong guys in the top 10, called Erenkar Espada. 4 emperors is another place, the new world of the Grand Line. The 4 most powerful pirates are collectively referred to as the Emperors of the Sea. Like the emperors, they dominate the new world in the second half of the Grand Line. At this point, Jashiro Yukitake paused for a while. Namikaze Minato was shocked. You said before that you are the captain of Gotei 13's 13th Division. Namikaze Minato said here, also a little heavy. In his opinion, Bullet can have such strength at this age, no less than his genius. Do not. It should be said that there is a fight, Namikaze Minato will die if he doesn't escape with Flying Thunder God. However, people like Bullet are not even in the top 10 in Hueco Mundo. Especially according to Jashiro Yukitake, the people in Haweko Mundo are extremely powerful. Those who can rank above that monster, at least should be above the shadow level. Just a Haweko Mundo, I am afraid it will not be weaker than the 5 ninja villages, or even stronger. Mindful of this, Namikaze Minato felt awe-inspiring. At this time, Jashiro Yukitake nodded. Yes, I am the captain of the 13th squad in Gotei 13. I am responsible for the safety of Seireitei and follow the arrangements of the captain. Seireitei. Hearing what Jashiro Yukitake said, Namikaze Minato was naturally a little puzzled. He had never heard of the existence of Seireitei. Read more at mtlarchive.com. Well, Seireitei is an important place in the center of Soul Society. Only Shinigami and a few nobles can live here. When speaking of this, Jashiro Yukitake looked at Namikaze Minato with an apologetic look and continued, the specific situation. Mr. Minato, please forgive me, I can't tell you. Upon hearing this, Namikaze Minato nodded, but he didn't say anything. But at this time, he already understood in his heart. Haweko Mundo, Gotei 13, 4 emperors, have never been discovered by people in the ninja world for many years. There must be a reason. Single quote. Namikaze Minato did not doubt what Jashiro Yukitake said. This is not out of perceptual judgment, but because lies must have loopholes. However, regardless of the structure of Gotei 13, or the grievances between them and Haweko Mundo, Namikaze Minato couldn't hear any loopholes. Everything that Jashiro Yukitake said is too true. It can be said that they are interlocked with each other, forming an extremely complete chain. Therefore, Namikaze Minato can also clearly judge that everything Jashiro Yukitake said should be a real thing. But whether it's Haweko Mundo, 4 emperors, Arrancar, or Gotei 13, almost no one knew of the existence in the ninja world before. Especially the Seireitei and Spirit King mentioned by Jashiro Yukitake, Namikaze Minato has never heard of them. Haweko Mundo and Seireitei are very likely to be special existences that are difficult to detect. Like Mount Myoboku, Namikaze Minato had a guess in his mind at this time. As Jiraiya's proud disciple, Namikaze Minato naturally knows the existence of Mount Myoboku. Even, he originally signed a summoning contract with the Toads of Mount Myoboku, and will go to Mount Myoboku to practice celestial arts in the future. Therefore, he also knew that there was a special place in the ninja world called the 3 Immortals. Mount Myoboku, Ryūjin Cave and Wetbone Forest. These immortal land hidden in the unseen place is almost difficult to be discovered, the only possibility is that the inheritors selected by them can go find flowers. In Namikaze Minato's view, Haweko Mundo and Seireitei are likely to be similar, even deeper than the 3 great immortals. What Jashiro Yukitake said made Namikaze Minato a little fanciful. Subsequently, Namikaze Minato immediately realized the importance of this information. These may be the truths of the ninja world that ninjas have never known. Mindful of this, Namikaze Minato said to Jashiro Yukitake with a serious face, "Excuse me, can you follow me back to Konoha village? I believe Master Naruto will be very interested in visiting all the members of Gotei 13 after knowing your situation." At this time, Namikaze Minato believes that Jashiro Yukitake can be trusted. Whether it is from the performance of the other party or his previous words, there is no doubt. 0. And now it seems that whether it is Haweko Mundo or 4 emperors, it is obviously not friendly to Gotei 13. Therefore, in the view of Namikaze Minato, Gotei 13, the only organization that is friendly to the ninja world, is naturally not willing to let go of the opportunity to make friends. Jashiro Yukitake, as Shinigami, it's not just anyone who wants to invite, you can invite. Mr. Minato, I still have things to do now, I am afraid I can't go to Konoha village with you. After a moment of reflection, Jashiro Yukitake said, however, when my business is over, I will go back and tell you what you said. For the others at Gotei 13. After hearing these words of Jashiro Yukitake, Namikaze Minato was also quite helpless. Of course he can choose to force Jashiro Yukitake to Konoha village, but this is obviously not a good decision. It seems I can't beat it. Therefore, Namikaze Minato at this time can only nod with a smile. Next, after Jashiro Yukitake chatted with Namikaze Minato, the two of them said goodbye. Jashiro Yukitake performed a soul burial for the dead might die. Of course, Namikaze Minato can't understand what Jashiro Yukitake is doing. After doing this, sure that might die will introduce Ryūjin. Jashiro Yukitake naturally went back to meet Yamamoto Genryūsai. As for Namikaze Minato, he returned to Konoha village with a huge amount of shocking information. Chew on.